Okay, I'm just setting up some music. Can you hear me without the music being too loud? Because I just realized in the previous stream I forgot to turn on the background music, so we're gonna fix that. And I prepared everything else this time, hopefully in the right order. Yeah. Okay, cool. Not not too loud, not too soft. Alright. Yeah, if it gets too loud at any point, just let me know. I'll just leave this running in the background. Okay. Okay, so we're actually just gonna get started right away because there are a lot of weapons to cover. Now, if I just hang on, is the screen following? Okay, cool, it is. Yeah, if I just scroll down here, you can see like the, there are a lot of weapons, and this doesn't even include the special weapons, which I made a separate tier list for. We'll get to that in a second. So today I'm gonna split the early game tier list into two parts. The first part is just any sort of weapon that is very rare to find in the early game. Stuff like Renegade Loot, where you get that only from Sylvan, because if you beat Renegade boss in Sector 4, you're already gonna win anyways. So Renegade Loot, 8 attack, sentries, mine launchers, the stuff that's not common for you to find in Sector 1, sorry, in the early game, I've just made a separate list for that. And then all of this unranked stuff here is most of the more standard stuff that you can find. So I think I've actually remade the special weapon tier list. I don't think, because a lot of those are self-explanatory, like a lot of them are just dumb broken or just mid in general, so I don't want to spend too much time on those. I'd rather just spend more time talking about the general weapons, because there are a lot to get through, and yeah, hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, good point. So my definition of the early game, it depends. I don't want to put a specific sector down on it, but a rough idea would be sector 1 to 4 per se. The best definition, in my opinion, would be the point at which the weapons can help you survive against fights which you can't beat, and up until the point where you get yourself security like cloak back, and then you can basically run for every single fight and close to the end game. Whether you defeat flagship is another story. Well, that's what the Thursday tier list is for. But it's basically which weapons are the best at keeping you alive until your systems and other things can do that for you. That's how I would say. Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of that in this weaponsy here. Just trash versus actually good guns. Cool. So, without further ado, let's just go straight to the special weapon tier list. Like I said, I pre-made that. There's too much stuff in here that's like too much stuff to explain really, because a lot of these I'm just gonna blaze through and use this chance to explain what the tiers represent. But most of these are just preview, because I would imagine most of these are a bit more straightforward than the standard weapons. So okay, let me see. Let's see. Where's the game? Cool. Yeah. So we're just gonna go straight off with the F tier. Like anything in the F tier, I would never use, I would never buy, basically. And the niche category is for stuff that's like it can help you survive in specific situations. Like if you see subtractor here. Actually, hang on, let me turn off the game. Let me turn off the game displays because I don't think I need to show up stats for this one. So cool. Cool. Yes. So anything in the F tier stuff I would basically never touch. Anything in the niche category, it's like yes, it can help you survive, but under very specific circumstances. Like Subtractor is good at dealing with the Union Renegade if your anti-boarding is weak. So is Promotion Bomb, Colonizer Bomb, and Pacifier, but these are all basically one tricks. They save you from bad boarding events, nothing more. And then there are other things in here which is like this saves you, but it's so unsustainable that you really do not want to be firing this in safe fights. Yeah. Okay. I mean, is there? Let me check if there's any surprises here. Rat module. I'd like to mention one use case is on Hector A. I think if you buy it and use it against the Sector 2 guard, that's it. After that, ignore this. Never buy it again. Hostel's bad. Harpoon, not too bad per se, but if you can get Harpoon, this is basically an FTL weapon because you already had to cool kill a bishop ship. We're not going to go over rad beams. Too power for no system disruption. Horrible. Old Hermes is, I know it's a missile, but the inaccuracy in the power requirement is way too much. Same with old Pegasus. Crush is a meme weapon. Pearl House doesn't help you to disable enemy systems. 5 power weapons are just trolling in the early game. No system damage. A pistol, you can you can mind control enemies, but you can't control them, and that's the big thing. Because so they can't even sabotage for you. So it's basically another 2 power weapon that doesn't help you disable enemy systems. Fire rat on missile was one use case of rat was how bust. I I mean yes, but also the fact of modules is that you have to buy them and put them on a base weapon. And this whole discussion about hectare weapons is that but the hectare weapons are good, but if you have 2 modules on them, getting to that point is really expensive. Hmm. So yes, base mod laser itself is only like 80 scrap. That's 10 scrap more than burst 2, and you're paying for a worse burst 2 that you can hope to make it better by getting some of this. And by the time you buy mod laser and modules, you're basically it's that or hacking, which is like I'm gonna tech hacking 99% of the time. The other 1% of the time is like I don't know, TRC peacekeeping where I can't buy hacking because I need to buy shield. So yeah, maybe I'll go for mod laser, I guess. But yeah. Of note, the only high module is unsurprisingly cooldown module. Like I think we all knew that was coming. Out of the modules, I would say power and power are a bit are like not completely useless. That's why they're niche. So, but they're a bit counterintuitive because how incentivizes you to shoot empty rooms when the first thing you should be shooting is system rooms. So, but it's neat because yes, it can help you to harass some enemies. Newer was just like knockoff lockdown for disrupting repairs, so it's kind of meh. Also, it's just worse against Rockman in general, so it's even more niche. Power, you're paying more power, more likely to get disabled. Not really worth it. Adaptive phaser. Okay, okay. I knew this was gonna be a bit. Oh yeah, yeah. I know. Oh, Gabriel would hate to see this down here, but I've mentioned this before. So, okay, let me actually pull up the game just to remind ourselves remind ourselves of its stats. Let me just find it real quick. Okay. Um, did I miss it? I must have missed it. Ooh, adaptive phaser. Okay, cool. So here we go. Okay, so it's 3 power, 15 seconds for 1 ion. Okay, so not only are you telling me I have to pay 3 power. Mm, By the way, it's 3 power adaptive phaser is the equivalent of Kestrel Ace in higher offense, which is a burst 2 and an Artemis. So I'm paying 3 power, keep that in mind. In 15 seconds, I'm shooting a single projectile that disables one one shield layer and one weapon, I guess. And that's it. That's all I get for 3 power. if you look at so many other three power combinations, they are so much better. Either even if they're a bit slower, they do a lot more punch in the first volley, or they're just straight up better. Like I literally just gave an example of Burst 2 and Artemis 1. So if you look at Kestrel A, would you rather have Artemis 1 and Burst 2, or would you rather have Adaptive Phaser? Yeah, and yeah, that's the point. This is about early game. I think late game this could be I don't know. It's still not a great weapon, but maybe not niche, maybe D tier or something. But early game, it's just so hard to justify. The reason why it's a niche is because yes, it technically can disable systems. You can shoot it, cool, very inefficient, but it will still knock off something. Which I can't say the same for some of the tier weapons, so that's why it's a niche. Advanced flag. Now just go get 3 Union sectors in a row. What do you mean you're in sector 4 already? Okay, I assume nothing else in here is that much of a surprise. I, I, I hate on toxic pots a lot, but it's still system damage that pierces. Toggle flag burst force way too slow. Projectors very niche. It's only good at minor anti-boarding and stalling repairs, but it's zero power, so it's not like totally garbage. D tier is like it's mostly just consists of weapons that are just straight up downgrades of others. Hang on. Yeah, it's basically just mostly weapons that are downgrades of others. Like if you go up high tiers, you see better weapons, or some of these are just the functionality itself is just straight outclassed. Like plasma, for example, I don't remember the last time I used plasma or would want to. It's Aether weapons is just worse than burst laser 2. That's kind of funny. Karis, what's Karis? Oh, Karis is D tier. Yeah, Karis would be amazing with a this and this setup, but that means it's not very general, you know. The reason why Karis is in detail and not niche is because it's basically like a speedum, and I'm not gonna put a speedum in niche. Like at the very worst, speedum does um guaranteed 1 damage to like 3 rooms at worst. So it's obviously I prefer a lot more system damage on one particular room, which is why Karis and speedum are not high, but it's better than niche, I would say. Alex early game is bad speeder. Yeah, you could think of it that way. It's Speedum ended up like C or D tier, I think, but we'll get to that later on. Um, Magma needs too much support. Oops, no, Steel is not meant to go up there. Steel's too slow. This is a reskin Vulcan, which is still slow. Being better Vulcan does not make you like good, you know. Okay, these mine launchers I want to mention, they are good at hard rushing, but the other mine launchers are just safer because they are a lot harder to take offline. These are all 3 or 4 power mine launchers, meaning one heavy laser, usually they're gone. So that's the scary thing. Mod beam, you're paying for a worse halberd. Um, Package is not great in efficiency. Ion Changer is slow, but it's better than Adaptive Phaser. Um, this is only up here because of the cooldown. Otherwise, the other one, I think the base weapon is like in F tier, to be honest. Uh, any surprises? Loot Pike will be better. No, because Loot Pike, it doesn't do the bonus system damage. That's the main issue. If it did do the bonus system damage like the old Loot Lucerne, then yes, I agree. Probably B tier. Well, it's just fast and like I don't know. It's um admittedly, it is one of the better weapons in the range of D tier here. Oh, another thing, by the way, I'm not ranking these within the tiers. So, uh, as we go on to the later tiers, the only tier I'm really going to be worried about is the S plus needs a nerf tier. That's like in order of what I would nerf first, what I would nerf second, what I would nerf third. The rest of this is like it's way too context dependent because some weapons are basically unusable if you're playing a missile setup. Some weapons are basically unusable if you're playing a laser setup. And vice versa. It's just this is a general overview of how good weapons are at keeping you alive, assuming a decent condition. By decent condition, I mean it's you pair it with stuff that it would synergize well, like you pair a Dirk with a burst one, but you don't get access to the best of the best tech. For example, stall you don't get to stall for Suyari with cloak hack. That's unrealistic. The best you get is a burst one to help you knock down shields. That's it. Uh, energy missile. A particle missile's standard weapon. We'll get to that later on. And yeah, particle missile's not a loot. So why big suck bomb above promotion bomb? Um, because big suck bomb actually disables systems. Promotion bomb. This is basically only useful if you're trying to anti-board. If you, I don't think I've seen people go boarding with promotion bomb because, and that's why I say it's niche because in the boarding department, basically a small bomb would be better than promotion bomb just to help you disable systems. Whereas big suck bomb, you could say it's niche, but also at the very worst, it is still one system drain for any ship that has more than three or more crew. Because if they have two crew, then one will be in piloting, one will be in engines, so no one's in weapons. If there are three crew, the third guy will be in the engine, so the third guy will be in weapons, so you can always bomb weapons and get one system drain. And it compounds with the fact that if you damage, if you put a hazard in weapons, then two people will come and fix it. You bomb them, that's more system drain. Also, if you board into weapons, that's even more system drain. So it's just, I'd say it's way better at system disruption than any of the niche weapons. Promo bomb and stimulant bomb side grade. Yeah, I agree. I think steam bomb also ended up in the niche tier later on. Promo bomb should be pre-ignited and single fire. Um, yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't mind that. Maybe, maybe it could. Yeah, I think pre-ignited sounds good. I'm not sure about having to limit it to one shot per fight, but maybe after the first pre-ignited shot is a long cooldown. I'm not sure, but yeah. Steam bomb. I guess it depends on the context because sometimes like if I promote a radiant, that's actually like sorry, if I promote a shell to a radiant, then I would argue that promotion bomb is better. But if I promote a human to a soldier, then yeah, steam bomb's probably better. So like they're good in different contexts. And I kind of do agree that steam bomb is generally a bit more useful than promotion bomb because promotion bomb is definitely more niche. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we gotta keep moving. We haven't even gotten to the standard weapons yet. Oh gosh. C tier is your. I'm not mad to see a C tier weapon, but you could use better. So, let's see what's here. Obsidian and Nightshade are too power hungry, too slow, but if you shoot them, they basically wipe the system that you aim at. So there's that. Mod Laser is just expensive burst too. The only reason Mod Ion is up here is because of Pierce Module. The only reason Pierce Module is up here is because of Mod Ion. So yeah, I guess you could call them twins, I guess. Just stick them next to each other. Sentries, the only reason these sentries are up here is because they drain power. But unlike Hazard Sentry, which is a lot more niche than these sentries, Medic Sentry and Vamp Sentry actually they basically guarantee that you win boarding interactions and Cryo Sentry slows repairs, so they're definitely more generally useful than Hazard. Core and C, the thing is this is an early game tier list, so I don't even know how you get Core this early on. But so if you really feel like this early on, I think you're fine. But okay, on a real note, Core a slight issue in that it's not that great two on two or three weapon slot ships. It's decent on four weapon slot ships, and I think that's about it really. Like it's still usable for sure on three weapon slot ships, but basically then you need some higher power weapons to take advantage of that. And we know higher power weapons leads to longer cooldowns. So it's kind of a what's the word for it? It's a bit counterintuitive. Yeah, that's the word. You incentivize yourself to use high power weapons, but in the early game you don't want to be using high power weapons because of the long cooldown. Admittedly, the best thing about core is that it kind of keeps 3 bars protected and running at all times. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah, Root Heavy 2 is up there, don't you worry. Alright. I don't gathering being down here, same thing, it's too slow. Like if you can afford um if you can afford the pre-igniter or like cloak hack, you're winning because of those, you're not winning because of Gatling. So just keep that in mind when you see this down here. Um I don't think oh yeah, the this whole mine launcher collection, they're just basically good at like how not how rushing, but just chipping the enemies how even if you're taking a lot of damage, at least you can force a surrender and the fight that way. And lockdown can stall repairs, fire can stall repairs and deal more damage. Accuracy just basically makes every shot a guarantee hit. Not critical, but it's nice. I guess this would be like down here. I prefer these two. B tier, let's see. Feels very strange. Those two is in the same tier as Harbinger 1. Um, wait, why is wait, what? No, sorry, no, sorry. This should be up here. What on earth was that? Okay, I think I accidentally dragged Harbinger down to B tier by accident while scrolling or something, but that's meant to be up there. That's a very good call. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Harbinger is A tier. Like I think that was an accident. Like it shouldn't have been down there. So okay, let's see. Okay, New Sentry by far the best sentry because it actively like shuts out enemies from a system for like 20 seconds, which is kind of insane. But it also depends on what you can use those 20 seconds for. Let's see what else. Tesla, it's slow. It's seven. I get it's good, it's consistent, but it's 17 seconds. We can't put it too high because of that. Especially because like it still needs to get through shields. Um, Bow's here because of radius. If it didn't have radius, it would low key be S or pre nerf, I guess. Old Burst 2, this is the only like old weapon that's actually good because the shot efficiency actually doesn't change. If you look at the other burst weapons, typically the shot efficiency is worse or the cooldown is significantly worse. Old Burst 2 is basically Burst Laser 2 with radius. Because it's only 1 second slower, so you can still use it to pop shields. Like I have I have bought Old Burst 2s from Sylvan before. It's actually a pretty nice price. Mm. Adder, let's see. Uh, Loot Bird and Eradicator is high B. Yeah, I, I agree, but I initially just dragged this up because I dragged all of these here, not particularly focusing on their ranking. But yeah, you are right. This would probably be like up here. Slow, but does get the job done. Adder this high with 4 second cooldown. Adder, because on the second shot is basically heavy two. So and heavy two is like a really good weapon in itself. So it's and 14 seconds, it's not too bad. If it was like 15, 16, I agree. It's getting a bit pushy. So maybe you put this like mid B tier, but I do think the fact that it turns into a heavy two after one shot is at least it's something. It's not like because the default adaptive laser takes two volleys before it turns into heavy two, which is takes a bit too long. And also, if you think about the default adaptive laser, the fact that it has 10-second cooldown doesn't mean that much when most of your shield breakers, aside from flags, already take 12 or 13 seconds. So waiting on Adder is not too bad, but the 10-second cooldown of adapter laser doesn't get that much benefit in that sense. Yeah, burst heavier too. Um, I I really wanted to put slot gun higher, but it's too slow. 16 seconds is a bit eh, not not best. Um, what else is here? No, I think we covered basically. Oh, sniper. Sniper's just not got great efficiency. It's 3 power for 3 damage. It's other than that, it's actually kind of good, kind of decent. Gold flag, critical shield removal. Yeah, gold flag's just up here because of the raw shot efficiency. It would be higher. Like you see, root charge 2 up here because it's very fast as well, and the actually does pretty targeted system damage. But gold flag's is a bit slower, so yeah. All right, 18. So let's see. Sustaining bound is slow, but it's 0 power, so it's like by default good. Thought launcher is surprisingly good for early game. Like two shield pierce absolutely demolishes crew, and the radius is not very important because it has 35 pixel radius, I believe, which perfectly covers a 2x2 room. So if you shoot in a 2x2 room, there's basically no chance of missing aside from natural evasion. Root Venture and B. Okay, admittedly, this is definitely one of the lower ends of B, but it does system damage. That's why it's up here. Wait, I'm pretty sure it doesn't do system damage, right? If it doesn't do system damage, it would be way lower. But yeah, cluster bomb, it's slow, but it's 2 power and it just minces through any system through any mouse shield. So the main reason strawberry is in B tier while cluster is in A tier is because well, for one, cluster is faster, and also cluster takes 2 power, strawberry takes 3 power. That's a pretty big difference. Like anything that takes a lot of power is more likely to get disabled by a random stray shot, for example. Okay, cool. Root Venture um does have system damage. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, the ship it starts on is a bit weird. But you can get it from Sylvan, which is not bad. I know the damage efficiency is not amazing, but it's fast enough, and the fact that it shield pierces, so it's kind of self-sustaining in a way. Any surprises here? I don't think there's any surprises here. These are all just generally good weapons. The ballistic collection here is like they're just too slow to be higher, but they're all quite good. Multiplier is very fast, but you need some better system damaging weapon. It's great at removing shields though. Same with light charge 2 and charge frost. Yeah. Uh Carnage is I mean Carnage is basically like a middle ground between Strawberry and Cluster Bomb. It's faster, but oops, sorry. It's faster, but also the radius is like dicey. S tier, I would be very happy to see any one of these. If I have any one of these at any time, you would probably see it on my weapon slots almost the entire the entirety of the early game, unless I'm basically like just memeing and playing a more fun build or something. Um, not too much. I don't think there's any surprises here really. Like every weapon here is generally considered quite strong. Um, yeah, I think that's no. I don't think there should be any surprises here. So I'm just gonna move on. If there's something, like I'm gonna be a bit rushed on this because we have so many weapons to get through. But if there's any weapon that you are unsure about why it's placed there, then just give a shout in the chat. I'll get back to it. Needs enough. So in reality, you can think of um this whole S tier as being one thing, like S and S plus. It's just really like the the front runners of the S tier I put in S plus, which I do think need enough. Like Equalizer is ridiculously strong as well, but it's not at that point where I would say it's the one of the first few things I would nerf. So payload, yeah, I think we talked about this. It's like it needs to have one less system damage. I think we start from there and then we see how it does because disabling any artillery in this like okay, hang on, that's actually a late game question, so we won't talk about that. But 2 power for 4 damage that go shoot any amount of shield and stuns and puts a breach in system. It's like I it's not balanced, dude. And I mean, okay, I know this is a late game, but you are gonna see payload very high as well in the late game carries because it one shots any artillery system you will see in late game. That's ridiculous. If payload was instead 3 power, sorry, it does 3 damage, then it can't one shot some of the artilleries that are 4 power. Then I think it will be like, okay, it's still really good, but it's not I point at the system and it dies kind of good. Energy missile, I did consider the fact that it's like really rare, and part of the reason why Elite Series is down here is because it's well, it literally starts on one ship, so I'm not gonna farm about that. But energy missile, I don't know. It does 5 ion, which is ridiculous. That's the same as big ion, dude. And you can fire it more than once in a fight. It's hang on. Um, let me find it. Oh no, the devs put energy missile with like particle weapons, I think, for some weird reason. Cool. Like, okay, if we see here, right, and 2 power, 2 power, like 2 and 1 power weapons are very good because they're a lot less likely to get knocked off a line than 3 power weapon. It goes through all shoots, it does 5 ion damage. Like every single time I shoot this into enemy weapons, the enemy loses 3 shields and at least 3 weapons. It's I don't I understand that it's rare, but oh my gosh, this is like absurdly broken if you do get it. Um, can Silver sell you this? Because if he could, then this is definitely like I would 100% say it needs enough if Sylvan can sell you the energy missile. It's like way too much value for a 2 power weapon. It was balanced because of the lack of accuracy. All right. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I guess that's what I would say. If Sylvan can sell it, please nerf it. It cannot be this strong if Sylvan can sell it. Otherwise, you know what? Fine, you can have it. But I would just nerf it to 4 ion and I think it would be better. Not game breaking as soon as you get it, you know? Yeah, if you can't wear it is fair enough. Yeah. Okay, big ion. The first thing that came to my mind, please nerf this thing 4 ion. Like the fact that at the start of any fight, I can just point at weapons, turn off 3 weapons and 3 layers of shields at once. Like for 0 power, instantaneously at the start of a fight. This is I don't know how it stayed this long without getting a nerf. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that chain energy got nerfed over big iron is crazy to me. I think the only like quote unquote nerf this got is that the price was raised from 80 to 100 scrap. Like, well, cool. I'm gonna sell one extra augment to buy this at Sylvan because if I buy this, I'm just gonna win. Like death, yes. It is death. You point at shield, they lose all 5 shield layers. No standard enemy in the flagship ending has um well no, I think maybe there's one or two that have 6 shield layers, but mostly optional fights, I would say. Mostly. And even then, if it's not optional fight, you can still shoot at your weapons and sorry, you can still shoot at the shields and turn off 5 out of 6 of the shield layers. So like, yeah, yeah. First thing first, nerf this to 4 ion. I think that will be a good way to go about nerfing it first, because that means you can only turn off 2 shields if you don't shoot at shields, and you're less likely to nuke the entire weapon system. I still think it would be like probably an S tier weapon after that, but it's not absolutely dumb broken like S plus right now. Sylvan Cancer Energy Missile. Okay, alright, fine. Absolute top of S tier though. I'm not putting this anywhere lower than the top of S tier. This is still no, because you do realize a big iron and energy missile conceptually the same, right? They pierce shields, they deal 5 iron damage to shields and the system they hit, and they're both like insanely broken. The only thing is that big iron's more accessible than energy missile. And big ion's zero power and is charged at the start of the fight. Honestly, like I know we talk about payload a lot, but I would go ahead and put like big ion in a big ion tier in itself. Like this thing, yes, it's renegade good, but it's completely dumb broken, I would say. Pre-ion with Pierce. Yes, it's pre-ion with Pierce, but it also but the fact that it pierces means it ions shields and the system you hit. Also just kills a random crew for whatever reason. So go big ion Sylvan Prime field. Like it's kind of funny. I'm pretty sure I did that once. I specifically took some pestilence drones, removed his super shield, and then I just shot Prime where he was. I didn't even care where the system was. Which yeah, I guess that was funny. But yeah, big ion, 100% need to know. Cool. Okay, so that's basically every special weapon. I didn't want to like go through and review them slowly because it would take absolute ages. So instead, we're just gonna move on to the unranked, well, the standard weapons, which I'm gonna rank soon. Um, okay, I'm gonna have to blast through a bunch of this as well because this can't be taking too long. And actually, a lot of the weapons are kind of similar in a sense. So once I explain one of them, I'll basically be like, so this is the next weapon. Actually, it's pretty similar to this weapon, so I'm not gonna repeat my explanation again. We're just gonna move on. That kind of stuff. Okay. But here we're actually gonna start from the FTL and up. I think these are more interesting to talk about. Actually, before I do that, let me catch my breath for a sec. But any any guesses on what the absolute worst standard weapon in the game is? Because I have one in mind. It's not even close. Laser good ion bat. Yep. Enemies are the lowest in aim. Wow. Wow, interesting. We got one vote for Vogue. Anything else? Mm, well, TRC weapons included, by the way, so I don't know if you want to include. No, I mean, yeah. Okay, I don't think there's like any point trying to hide it any longer. No, it is actually just Vogue. Like this is this was the easiest thing in my mind to decide. Now, if only I can actually find this weapon. Like, this just finding the weapon itself is gonna take a while. Sorry. Where on earth is Vogue? Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's Vogue. Like, no, zero context. Every other weapon is like at least 10% more usable than Vogue. 5 power takes 10 years to charge. Like this is a recipe for disaster in the early game. It's like if you took Fat Ace artillery beam and put it in a weapon. That's that's how I can describe it. Oh, Kamayari is low as no, in fact, just gonna call it Kamayari is also F tier, but it's definitely like significantly better than Vogue. Kamayari. There we go. Cool. Let's see. Simple ion. uh, Some of these simple weapons, they're not actually as bad as you think. Just for the pure fact they're one power for one shield pop. Like that fact alone already probably puts it above up here because we have some really garbage reps to get through. Ah yes, the sand ship just breaking all convention. Repair tune bomb. I Repair tune bomb I would definitely classify as niche Because there are some ships that would actually benefit from having a repair drone bomb. Like if you put deployment bomb on Kazakh's cruiser, it would actually be like kind of decent. You think Lito is a little interesting? We'll see, we'll see. I mean, I could. Oops, hang on. Oh, damn it. Well, I can tell you Lito is not this low. Oh, hang on. Rats. Rats. Accidentally quick outlook. Damn it. Okay. Curious about my opinion on Iron Tree? Oh, what do I tell you right now? It's another FTL weapon. Dude, 4 power and it takes so long to get through, dude. Like the fact that you put 4 power into this thing means you basically have no room for anything else. And that's a very big issue. Like I, because I don't know many instances where I have more than 5 weapon power in early game. So the best thing I'd compare this with is probably a heavy one. That's it. And the moment I take it off shields to shoot a weapon, something it just it goes to whack. And I have to start all over again. Oh, Artemis is very high, you best believe that. Yeah, like you will see a lot of very high power weapons down here. It's just because it's like I it's too much in early game. Because keep in mind, I'm defining early game as the point where you are vulnerable, you need weapons to help keep you alive until you get other things that allows you to stay alive, and as long as you need onto the flagship. That's how I would imagine early game as. Yeah, and Silverfight's an end is an end game thing. So I would imagine I haven't completed the late game tiers yet, but it would probably be like in the niche category for me. But yeah, I'm glad you called those out. We're gonna go right into those right now. Where are the offenders? Glaive, yeah, actually all 4 power beams. Glaive, Goendendag, um, Pike 2. Who's Pike 2? Sarisa. Yep. All F tier weapons. All take too long, all take too much power, same reason. Ion 3 is low-key better than these just because it's actually kind of fast, even though it's really high power. So, yeah. I mean, look at this nice beam family. They're all F tier. I hope they're happy. Let me just hang on. Let me just put all the beams right now. All the beams that are in F tier. Let me just go ahead and call them out right now. Corbin, 0 system damage. Falcon, 0 system damage as well. What else do we have? Flamberge, 2 power and yeah, um, yeah, it's 2 power and it takes way too long to start a fire. That doesn't even deal system damage immediately. Like I think this is definitely like one of the best F tier weapons, but it's still really not good. I would say. Um, particle beam, get up here. Takes absolutely 10 years and it still can't pierce through shields. By the way, um, what are the beams that are down here? Oh, oh, TRC's Falcon 2. If you thought Falcon 2 was any better than Falcon 1, you'd be wrong. They're both equally bad. Now, if you look at, I think this may or may not be a hot take. I put I put normal Rancher down here. Like, ooh, okay. That's something we may need to talk about. How close you Falcon these? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but Rancher, is anyone surprised by that? Because I made this and I was thinking, can I put it in niche? That's what I was thinking when I made this tier list. It's basically the same thing as Corbin and Falcon, no? Like they don't do system damage. They don't. I mean, they stall repairs, that's about it. But even at least Corbin and Falcon do crew damage. Yeah, okay, to be fair, I was debating on the longest time on whether to put Ugansha in niche or F tier. So, I think you could make a case for niche. It is one power to disrupt system repairs. Fine. I I consider it an F tier weapon because I basically never want to be using this. Anytime it's on my tab, I probably get rid of it as soon as I have something in any of the higher tiers, to be honest. You can cook it pretty well. Yeah, but even then, like, I have to give it to Corbin and Falcon. They could kill faster than Rancio. And also Rancio just gets messed up by a single separatist ghost or Ranius. So yeah, I think because again with any tiers, I think there's a lot of room for discussion. Like like I say, if you put it in niche, I don't mind. I think that's fair. Just don't put it higher than niche. I really do not think it's that good. Some of these stay down here though. Like if anyone tells me Vogue is higher than F in the early game, I humbly disagree. Okay, you bet Pelta will be like C tier since it's free. Close. I think I did have Pelta decently high up. And yes, it is for the fact that it's free, but we'll get to that in a sec when we get there. We need to finish off the F tier, and let's bring in some TRC guns. Like we all know there are gonna be some TRC guns in here. All right, it's gonna be flares, gasoline bomb, infinity ion. Like, uh, anything else? No, okay, that's it from TRC. I think in the F tier. All right, so is anyone surprised at these placements? I hope not. Like, Flash is actually might actually be one of the worst weapons in the whole game. Probably right next to Vogue. Flagfall? Actually, no. Flagfall, it is low, yes, but it's not because um because Flagfall's faster than these beams, and it can actually do something through shields. Whereas these a glaive through two shields tickles. So yeah, Flagfall is not F. It's it's very high power. It's slow, but it actually like wall ups the enemy. These ones to wall up the enemy, you actually need to break shields. So a lot harder to justify them being high. Yeah, Infinity Ion is like, gosh, the only reason this works on on TRC Monk is because TRC Monk has a trifecta of defenses. That's how bad this thing is. Yeah, gasoline bomb. Apparently, this used to consume ammo at one point in playtesting. That was a wild time. I don't even remember that, but that was wild. Yeah, okay. I'm not too fussed about the order, so don't worry about it. You're gonna say Infinity without adaptive feels weird, but you guess adaptive costs 2 power. Well, what if I told you I actually put adaptive in F initially? Okay, okay, look, hear me out. You are spending 2 power, and your first volley takes out one shield. Like, what is the shot ratio? It's like- but and then when I consider it again, I'm thinking like, okay, it's 2 power. You so I think eventually I moved it to niche, but initially I had an F tier, so it is pretty damn close. But for what it's worth, if this thing is the one thing left online, at least it can do something, It's like that's a very big stretch, but we can't say the same about some of these other F tier weapons, so yeah. weapon training guns. Vogue does something compared to Flare. I mean, on one hand, that is true, but on the other hand, Flare distracts defense drones, which I really consider to be more better than Vogue. It is unspeakable how bad Vogue is. Like, I think they could buff this to be 20 seconds. I think it still wouldn't be enough. The fact that it costs 5 power is criminal. If you can afford 5 power and a shield breaker in early game, I think you're already gonna win. Like that's Vogue being lower than Flares, I think is just a testament to how bad Vogue is. It's basically the meme weapon of Multiverse, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think wait, let me check if I missed something in the FTL. Um I missed one gun. This is um okay, I have no sentiment towards this gun. Some people might not like it, but guys, Falcon is not good. Okay, Falcon is there for the fun factor. As a gun, it is like horrible, horrible. It's so bad. It drags the ship with crystal econoids down into the sea tier. That's how bad it is. If that if Crystal Econoid had a burst laser too, it would be an S tier ship. The fact that it has two shields, Crystal Econoids, and is still in the C tier is the testament to how bad Vulcan is in the early game. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. The only reason I put Econoid B that low is because of this one weapon. Which, by the way, it takes 30 seconds to wind up, which means if you're using this and nothing else, it takes 30 seconds before you can actually start damaging the enemy. Do you know how bad that is? That's basically twice the duration of Tiers 2, which was one of the main reasons the old Morph C was so low on the tier list. It's yeah. Yeah. Again, guys, not a fun-based tier list. I understand some of you find Vulcan fun. I don't, but that's fine. I'm just saying, like, please do not ever use this to try and save yourself. It will not do anything. With that said, I believe I have gotten all of the F tier weapons. Like, the weapons in here, I don't recall ever using them a single time unless I started with them and was forced to use them. Then I swap off them as soon as I could. Yeah, I think that's how I would summarize this tier. I don't know if I'm even the strongest Vulcan hater. Like I do understand why people find it fun. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. Get wheeling. Yeah. Yeah, before like once Gatling gets up to the 30 seconds, it actually just wins you the game, wins you the fight. Vulcan doesn't even do that. It has radius and shoots one projectile at a time. Gatling shoots two. You're basically gonna brute force your way through everything. So yeah. Hey, niche. So same rules as the special weapons tier just now. It's just a bunch of weapons that are like either just severely outclassed by the other weapons above it, but they still can be used, or they're just used to save you from very specific situations. So you already know like stuff like firebomb, rat bomb's gonna show up here. Because you don't really use these aside from saving yourself. I don't think I've seen anyone use rat bomb on offense. If you do, then please let me know. That would be very funny. But okay, arachno bomb is also in here. It's kind of it's kind of a mix between firebomb and rat bomb, I guess. It's it's weird. Where's rat bomb? There we go. Cool. Yeah. Oh yeah. Vulcan gets hard countered by defense drones. Thank you for pointing that out. So yeah, firebomb. Yeah, firebomb just doesn't do system damage, and that's a very big shield. And also, it can spawn one or two fires. If it spawns one fire, it could actually just do nothing because the enemy could just take the fire out before it even burns down the system. So it's really niche. It's like you can use it to support rock fireballing, but there are just better ways to support that. So overall niche. It's not total garbage like the F tier though, considering it's one power. Okay, now what else do we have in the F tier? Sorry, no, not F tier. The niche tier. So we've got okay, let me bring in more TRC weapons as well because yeah, I don't think most of the TRC weapons are making it out of the lower trenches. Let's just say that. Okay, cool. So from TRC, we do have um formal weapons. Cool. Deployment bomb, as I mentioned just now. We've got the assembly cannon. We have oops. We have Scorch, and we have body share. I think that's how you pronounce it. Body share. I don't know. So all niche like Scorch, the issue with Scorch is that yes, it's got a very fast cooldown, but you need the enemy to have one shield for most of the time. Because if the enemy has two shields, then you're still waiting for your own volley. Then you're only doing one power fire for one power, which is a very questionable ratio, I have to say. Yeah, why use Lost Bun like why use Firebomb when you can have Lost Suns? I agree. Um, Body Shade is just worse Lucent. There's that. It's like Lucent is already not that high, and Body Shade is just slower, so it's gonna be lower. Deployment Bomb is only useful if you need repair. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything for you on offense. And also, like Deployment Bomb is just an inferior version of Repair Burst. I would much rather have a Repair Burst than a Deployment Bomb. Assembly Cannon is not that bad. Well, it's very expensive if you use it consistently. It's good. It's basically like the Dazzler. You use it to get you out of sticky situations, but you don't really want to be using this because you don't really want to be using this regularly because this thing, if you're not using to support your barrage, it's just there shooting an enemy ship by itself. And probably by the time you shot your one volley of your other weapons, and by the time you charge your next volley, the drone's already gone. So it's like you have to shoot a drone part every single volley if you want to get use out of this regularly. And that's horrible. So it's good for um emergency one off dangerous fights. Nothing else. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's really annoying as enemy, I agree. Because they don't care about resources we do. Like every drone you use on assembly cannon is one less drone you use for hacking. Think about it that way. Okay. What else do we have? Now we're moving on to base multiverse weapons in niche category. We're gonna go with Torch here. Like Torch is the same issue of you wait 16 seconds and you light fires. One, you're not even guaranteed to start fires and an 80% chance. And two, you have to wait for the fires to actually damage the systems before you gain safety from that. So it in total the time to system damage is not 16 seconds. It's more like 21 or 22 seconds even, depending on your RNG. And that's part of the reason why Bramberge is down here, but Thor got a buff from 2 power to 1 power, so that's the reason why it's up here and not in F tier. Iron Bomb and Stun Bomb, no, those are a lot higher than you might expect. Let's just say that. Let's just say. Uh, it's nice that Scorch only takes 1 power. Are you referring to Torch? Because we didn't have Scorch in vanilla. Oh, Torch used to be 2 power in vanilla, yeah. And it was basically like not great, but Yeah, one power makes it a lot more bearable, I would say. Yeah, you mean torch. Okay, fair enough. All right, next. Oh, we mentioned this just now. Steam Bomb is also in this niche category. Save you from anti-boarding. That's about it. I would not recommend using this on offense. If you want an offensive bomb, just use Artemis, use Bomb, use Breach Bomb, use basically any other missile launcher that does system damage. It's better than Steam Bomb. We also have Rad Laser. Like Rad Laser is higher than Falcon and Comet because it actually kills really fast compared to those two. And it also takes only one power. Those are like two big differences. But at the end of the day, it still doesn't do any system damage, which is a huge red flag for me. And I am sorry to say, but I put Annalise here as well. It's like, don't get me wrong, I think it's better than Rad Laser because last I checked, it does pierce two shield, right? So in that sense, yes, it can be better, but also is let me pull up the stats of Annalise and let's show it on screen right here. Anyways, here we go. Cool. Annalise stats: one power, 8 seconds, 60 crew damage. Okay, so in two volleys, I deal 120 crew damage, which is decent. I'll give you that. It's very decent. But by the time I shoot this weapon twice, that's 16 seconds of cooldown. And I'm already very iffy on weapons that take 16 seconds to cool down because at that point the enemy is just shooting at you all over the place. So you will see a bunch of 3 power 4 damage 16-second cooldown weapons in the D tier because 16 seconds is like it's that breakaway point where enemy weapons are for the most part outpacing your own. So for enemies to be there, be at that point where you need 60 seconds to one shot a crew, it's a bit dicey, I have to say. You need two shots to kill one guy. That's the thing. If I have two enemies, I have two weapon power not going to disabling enemy systems. That's like the main problem I have with riot weapons is the opportunity cost. Why am I using an analyst when Artemis exists? Why am I using an analyst when burst one, particle one, heavy one, even hell, even lethal? Why am I using analysts over those things that would actually keep me safe? The main reason analyst is up here along with rat laser. And okay, to be fair, analyst does PS2 shield. I'll give it that instead of rat laser's one shield. It it doesn't help me stop enemy damage onto me. That's the main problem I have with all the rat weapons. And to- and definitely Analyst is not as extreme compared to Falcon and Corbin because those take 2 power and only pierce one shield and take a lot longer to cool down. So those are like horrendously bad examples, which is why they're in the F tier. Analyst is still there, it's like that's what else to say about this. Like, I can see an argument for it being D tier, because in my mind, it's definitely better than Rat Racer. So, like, I can put it in D tier. I'm happy to do that because it definitely falls under the category of being able to brute force an enemy. But nothing's gonna change the fact that it still takes about what 32. It takes 32 seconds to kill ships with two crew. Two crew that are not rocks or crystals. And then by the time you start getting into sector 2 or 3, you already have three cruise ships, four cruise ships, and then it takes too long for analysts compared to the mine launchers. You saw the mine launchers, the good ones, in C tier because when they hull rush, they force a surrender or kill the hull a lot faster than analysts can brute force kill enemy crew. And that's one of the reasons analysts is, I would say, justifiably lower than those mine launchers. Right. So yeah, I mean, talking it over, I think the detail is fair. I would not put it in C tier though, because we will see a lot better weapons in C tier from here on out. Like things that just actually stop the enemy from shooting at you. Because even one system damage, I know one system damage does not sound like it doesn't sound like a lot, but one system damage can be the difference between a combat 2 laser drone shooting at you for the next 15 seconds and like taking down all your systems, or it just being offline as the enemy has to repair it. So that's why I know Rito sounds bad, one missile for one power, but the fact that Rito is enough to turn off a combat 2 drone, that's worth thinking about. That's really something worth considering. Yeah. So, okay, yeah, fair enough. And at least a D, I'm happy with that. Tier higher than deployment bomb. Just wanted it to be better than this. I I agree with the deployment bomb hate. I don't like it either. What else do I have here? Oh, heal bomb. Heal bomb's in the same boat as stim bomb. You basically only use it like to help you do anti-boarding, or I guess if your ship does have a medical system to start with, it's one of those weapons, I guess. Where's heal bomb? Dude, I actually cannot find heal bomb. What is this? No, I haven't dragged it up. Where is it? Gosh, no, that's repair burst. That's recycle bomb. What? Gosh, I just I'm sorry, I cannot find heal bomb. But if I find heal bomb later on, it's gonna go into the. Oh no, okay, I found it. It's called medical bomb. That's why it's not alphabetically ordered. Cool, cool. Maybe upgrade, same price. Okay, cool. Next to mining beam. All right, all right. Yes, it's called medical bomb, not heal bomb. Damn it. That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah, okay, it was here. All right, all right. Um, yeah. Okay, cool. Thanks for the help. Next in niche, ooh, couple of iron weapons. Like, oh gosh, Gabriel is gonna kill me if he sees this stream, dude. But guys, really, ion weapons are just not it. And specifically the two power ions, because the two power ions, you're not doing much better than the one power ions, because the moment you miss a shot, you're back to square one. And it still takes like 15, 18 seconds before you get the second shield layer down. In that time, you know, as I say, always opportunity cost. Two power is the same as burst laser 2, Hermes, heavy 2, charge 2, particle 2, um, Asclepius, kernels, spore launchers, flak 2, uh, that this is just what I can name off the top of my head. And you see you have so many other weapons to go through that are higher than um higher than the niche category. So I again I think only the FTL weapons are truly horrendous. Like niche weapons I would probably use if I had nothing better. But the problem is there's 90% of the time there is something better, which is in the higher tiers. Large cheap power iron weapons can kill multiple shields. Yeah, basically that. Two isn't two iron. mm, It's just middle and doesn't. Yeah, I think that's the best way to describe it. It's a master of none. One power ions, at least they're just one power for one shield layer. And then there's some other iron weapons like heavy iron, I think ends up in D tier because it actually takes down two shields at once. And same with tri ion. But then these ones are just like there. If you miss one shot, it's all over. You have to restart, which is very bad. Um, did I miss anything in dude? I keep opening Outlook by accident. I swear. Because because unlike last time, I'm doing like, oh my god, I did it again. I'm doing a split screen view where I've got two displays up, so I can see the tiers and the chat at the same time. Okay, turn off the game display. Good point. Turn it off. Boom. Yeah, because we only need that if we need to like recall a weapon stats to see it or something. Cool. Let me just double check the tier list. Did I miss anything in niche? Um. Oh, there's two more. Okay, I missed the other two power ion. It's the red ion. It's same logic. I'm not gonna repeat myself here. Oh, niche. Final weapon in niche. Pains me to say this, but it's this weapon was gonna be no higher than D tier at most. It's time to say goodbye to Sing. Syncadia. Okay, so three power for what is effectively a dirk shot. So, like dirk has two less power than this. Why would I ever use Syncadia over dirk? Like the problem with Syncadia is that it needs enemies to have less than two shields to benefit. And the thing is, if you shoot at shields to reduce enemy shields, you're taking the damage away from weapons. So you're basically trading damage for delayed gain. You're not like investing into shield damage so you get a lot of system damage rated. No, because it takes time for Syncadia to spin up. It's also like 30 seconds last I checked. So it's about the same as Falcon. Like the main reason why Sync is definitively higher than Falcon is because it's targeted system damage that at least goes through one shield. So but beyond that, it takes way too much power and way too long. So niche. Yeah, stun two is here. All the two power ions. Yeah, early game's a three power duck. I think late game, maybe C, maybe B, because you can build your whole thing around it and it actually works. But definitely, I think late game it used to be like definitely B. They got nerfed, and I think it's more of a C tier weapon now because you still do need to quite heavily base your build around this. Not so easy to slot in like other weapons. Oh yeah, that's a late game tier thing. We're not gonna talk about that today. Early game, three power Dirk. Why would I ever use this over a Dirk? So with that, niche category is done. Let's move on to the detail. Cool. Detail once again, they are useful-ish, but mostly outclassed by the higher tiers. That's worry about it. And I think one of the lowest detail weapons I have to say is gonna be Kagiari. I was very hesitant to put this above niche, but it is zero power. So technically, it is a free damage boost to your offense. There's no system damage, but it helps with power damage. Like it's just plus three power damage to your volley, which can be helpful at making enemies surrender. So it's there. The scaling means nothing to me, by the way. Like, wait, I think I forgot. No, sorry, hang on. Hold that thought. Talking about scaling memes, I forgot to put Suyari in niche. Like, I swear I was missing something. It was Suyari. I last minute I moved Suyari up from F to niche because it's not crazy power intensive, but it's still definitely like not a good weapon. Um, yeah. So let's talk about Kageari and Suyari at the same time. Actually, yeah, Kageari takes basically 10 years to do system damage. That's the main issue. It's only okay because it adds a little bit of hull damage if you're running one of those hull damage rush builds that could benefit from Kagiari. And Suyari is just too powerful for like one damage beam. It's no thank you. I would rather use Speeder. Adaptive beams are fun. I agree. They can be fun. It's just early game it's just very hard to justify them. Surprise chain energy is not a niche. It's coming up soon. Don't you worry. Wait, actually, I'm pretty sure I put it in D. Yeah, I put it in D. Okay, let's talk about chain energy right now, actually. Um, I to this day I'm still confused why this weapon got a nerf. Like, I'm pretty sure before it was only like a C tier weapon at most, and then they nerfed it. It's now like D tier, arguably niche. So, okay, for the record, I do think it's better than Syncydia because it knocks down shield and it can knock two weapons offline at a time, which is better than what Syncydia can do. It's a bit more independent in a sense, right? Um, but yeah, well, I'm still confused why they nerfed it. Like, no reason to nerf this at all, in my opinion. It was fun. It was a fun late game weapon. That's fine. I don't think it was broken, really. Like, I'd rather just use my normal lasers and flat build. No, I get a chain energy and suddenly I pivot my whole build to surround chain energy. Um, yeah. So yeah, okay, it's the main issue of like there's too much power to do too little, which is the problem with a lot of chain or adaptive weapons you'll see. Well, Suya used to be 3 power. Oh gosh, that sounds horrible. That sounds terrible. Oh, I'm glad I didn't have to go through that. I'm gonna move on. I'm actually going a bit too slow. I should really start picking up the pace if we want to get through the whole tier list by today. Let me see. See if I can carry a bunch of weapons out at the same time. Yeah, I'm just gonna do that actually. I'm gonna. Mhm. No, it's fine. So, what else is in D? Let me see. Corsax in D. Uh, yeah, let me do all the beam weapons first. I think that'll be good. Corsac. Where's Falcard? Falshirt? I'm not quite sure how you pronounce that. Oh, mining beams. D. Peltas D. Where is that? Oh, there we go. Found it. Falshirt is D. Hike and Sight are both D as well. Yeah, I think this is better. I would just cover all weapons of the similar class, and I think that should make things a lot faster. Cool, that's all the beam weapons for D tier. Okay, yeah, kind of. Okay, to be fair, I do think Halbert's like a bit underrated. I think I put Halbert C tier, but this one is just too slow, I think. Like 20 seconds is at the point where enemies can fire two heavy lasers at you. Let that sink in. Mining beam is also same issue. It's too slow. And if I wanted system damage, I would rather take a Frost 2 over this, because that one at least allows me to put the damage in one room. If I use a beam, it's going to be for hull killing, because beams are not good system damaging weapons, please. The you can spread damage across rooms, but that assumes the rooms have to be close enough to each other, and there are multiple threatening rooms. Whereas for some enemies, all you really want is just to you want to dump 5 system damage into your weapons and make yourself safe. Beams do not allow for that, which is why you see a lot of beam weapons are just lower. And the good ones at least allow you to hull rush. Or they're just so cheap or what that it's fine. Mining B has decent breach, so random cool kills on the menu. Um, well, that is true. I think the whole concept of crew killing early game is quite overrated. Unless you can crew kill fast enough that the enemy offense is not an issue. That's the only time I would consider crew killing to be okay. Which is why like analyst is down here because it's not fast enough. It pinpoints one tower at a time. So by the time you go through the entire crew of a three cruise ship, then an enemy has probably shot like 3 to 4 volleys at you. So, so yeah, keep that in mind. Like with these weapons, um, how you keep yourself safe in the early game is by either killing the enemy fast enough that their dangerous offense is not an issue, or you disable that offense. That's the only two options you have. Mm, I don't know. I mean, Falcon used could probably be niche before the shield pierce buff. Even after it still takes too long. Scythe and Pike too powerful one system damage to a particular room is not great. I want more system damage on one room. I don't need spread damage. If I wanted hull damage, I just use Halberd, Because Pike and Scythe, I don't think they do enough damage to force a ship to surrender. At least Halberd does. Okay, that's beams. Oh, well, yeah, Panther is just zero power, so it's the fact that it's zero power means it's easy to slot in, but it also doesn't do that much individually, so can't really put it higher. Next, let's look at the iron weapons in D tier. Ion and energy weapons, actually. Uh, charge, charge 2. Heavy iron, it's time for heavy iron to go. Heavy stunner. All the heavies, actually. Heavy energy in here as well. Fire ion. Where's the I think that's it for ion weapons in the D tier. Did I miss something? No, cool. Okay, I got them all. Yeah, so these are ion weapons in the D tier. Like a lot of these heavy weapons, I put them all together. They're just too hit or miss. Like, yes, they're okay. I mean, specifically these two, at least they take down two shields. Heavy energy is like very weird. I did consider putting this lower, but cooldown is fast enough, so it gets a pass. But these are just it puts too much emphasis on a single projectile, you know. And the fact that it's two power and it removes two shields, that's just not a great ratio to be honest. For something that's it doesn't even take it's not fast in cooldown. It takes two shields, like one power for one shield essentially. And on this next shot, you're only taking down one shield, not two. So it's just I'm not sure how to describe this. It's too committal in a sense. You can't base your build around the fact that this thing is gonna disable shields quickly because if you do and this thing misses, then you kind of cook. But if you do have contingencies, like let's say this doesn't miss, sorry, let's say the heavy iron misses, I have other plans. Well, then you didn't need the heavy iron in the first place. So it's another one of those paradoxes, I would say. Oh yeah, true. This heavy iron is way better than vanilla heavy iron. I have to give the devs props to that. Plus one iron damage, 100% needed. Plus that accuracy, I would be down. I think that would be really cool. Nice consistency bonus. I dig that. Especially because like ever since the tri-ion buff, I think tri-ion just outclasses heavy iron for shield breaking. So I think heavy iron could use some love. Fire ion is kind of in the same boat. Yes, it can stack, but it's also stacking slower than the others. But it is faster, and so it's just kind of a middle ground, but it's still not that great. Ion Charge 2, mainly because of the power issue. And also, if you miss one shot, you kind of reset everything. But yes, you have flexibility, but if you wait too long, this thing could just get shut offline by a single heavy laser. Because, yeah, 3 power is kind of an issue. And you'll see this theme repeated throughout that high power weapons do not make it very high. In fact, I think the entirety of S plus and A tier, S to A tier, I don't think there's a single 3 power weapon in there. That's how bad it is. Yeah, that's ions in D tier. Next up, we have D tier lasers. I think most of these are expected. So let's welcome heavy laser. Sorry, no, not heavy laser, damn it. Conductive laser. Heavy laser is way higher, I swear. Um, we have anti-hull 2. We have oh, what's the other laser? Dude, where is burst 3? Oh, it's up here. I'm blind. And oh, here's 2 as well. Um, lasers. Oh, like yeah, I put light 2 in here as well. I think that's all the lasers in this tier. Cool, it is. All right. Hip fire ion can cool kill after 20 years. Yeah, yeah. Let's put it S tier then maybe. I agree. Adaptive razor, like level A is actually not even that bad. It's just adaptive razor is like quite mid, to be honest. Oh, flag four is here. I just, yeah, okay, fine. I'll include it. No, because I was to say lasers instead of flags, but then I will. Now that you made, fine, I'll put the flags in here as well. Because they're all pretty similar. Yes, flag four is in D tier. It's too slow, too expensive to put any higher. There's another 2 flags in here. One is where's Crystal Scatter? Get in here. And the other is I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't think Ion Flag is all that good. I think Ion Flag gets way too much praise for a mediocre weapon. But okay, I'm gonna start from the other weapons first. So Light 2, it's a pretty similar situation to Ion 2. Like, why are you paying 2 more power? Why are you paying 1 more power to just you're effectively suppressing 1 shield? It's not even that good because you can't really time Light 2 to be that great. It takes quite a while to break through a lot of shields in a sense, and it doesn't even do system damage. So why would I use Light 2 over something that breaks through a lot of shields at once? And um, how would I say? Yeah, something that just breaks through more shields and just does system damage. That's the main thing, really. Like at least Light One's coming up soon. I think it's in the C tier. At least it's 1 power, 1 shot. That's like, you know, fine. That's a decent ratio I can accept. Whereas Light 2, it takes a lot of chipping away to get some effective value. Yes. Ion Flag having -1 projectile is kind of a big deal. Because the thing is, the ion sounds nice, but you're effectively hitting it with a heavy ion for 3 power. Yes, you can clear 3 shields with that because it's basically an energy gun that has system damage. I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah, I agree. It's like a weird child, but it's. I don't know if they thought 4 projectiles would be too broken. Maybe it would be, but 3 power right now, 3 projectiles right now feels underwhelming. Yeah, except when it misses. That's an issue. These 3 guns are all pretty similar. Like, you have anti-hull to pierce 2. They both shoot 4 projectiles for 3 shots. Now there are some other weapons. I think the only other weapon would no, there are some other weapons that are 3 power 4 shots. I think the side effects of those weapons makes it better than these two. If I wanted to hull rush, I would rather use a halberd because halberd's more consistent. I don't need this thing which can miss, right? And Pierce 2, it doesn't. It's not a good shield breaker. At least like Burst 3 is slow, but it breaks shields for my good system damaging weapons to get through. PS2 doesn't break shields for my particles, my heavy lasers to get through, and it by itself is just not even as good at dealing system damage because it doesn't add anything of value aside from the possible breach and it's possible breach by the way. Like if you look at Frost 2, which is a C tier weapon, at least that thing has guaranteed lockdown, which just guarantees to halt repairs. Yeah, true. They look cool. And yeah, they're on the slower side of things. I had a feeling Burst 3 was a little bit underrated. Like the way some people describe it, they made it sound like the FTL weapon, but it's fine. It's just not a great starter weapon for casual A. And adaptive laser I talked about a bit earlier on. 10 seconds is not that great because you're gonna wait for your other weapons before volleying them together at the same time. So it doesn't even get that much of a benefit, and it takes too long to become heavy too. Crystal Scatter is basically the same issue as PS2, but you get a bit of faster cooldown for in return you have to pay accuracy, so that's not great. Flag 4, too much power and too slow, that's all. But at the very least, if you fire this thing, it's close to a surrender, if not definitely a surrender. Yeah. Yeah, if Casual A had 4 weapon power, it would be so much better. Because you have the Veto as a backup then. It's a legit backup. Um, Next weapons in D tier, we have. Oh, I put Mutagen Bomb in here, which is kind of weird. I know this could be like niche, not. Yeah, Mutagen Bomb could stand to be a niche. To be honest, it's probably like in the lower end of D tier. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's okay. It helps disrupt repairs. You can use it to kill crew because as in if you can use it on your borders. And if you put it on your borders and you go into a room and they die, then they the whole room takes system damage. Except the crew has to die, so it's not really viable for a med base ship. Okay, you know what? Fine. It should be niche. I don't know why I was thinking putting it in D tier. It should definitely be niche. Yeah. Yes, slightly better similar bomb. Yeah, they're pretty similar. So it should be niche. My bad. Yeah, there's just so many weapons that sometimes it just slips my mind. Like that something wrong happened. What else is in D tier? Oh, I think I missed beam. Whoops. It's partisan. Partisan, um, too powerful one system damage. Not great. That's all I have to say. It's not a great ratio. Anything else? I think I missed something. I just can't put a finger on what it is. Did I not? I know I bought. Hmm. Partisan. Pelta. Yeah, Pelta's here. I move Anois up, so there should be. That's weird. Sorry, I'm just like trying to tally this with my the theories that I already have made. to make sure they're all correct. Like all the energies are. I'm just trying to organize for the moment. One sec. Scatter. Two flags are here. Wait, no, no. Okay, no, I have everything. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I think it's just a weird case of like my monitors are two different size. So on one of them, there's like 11 items in a row, and on the other one, there's only 10 items. Okay, cool. It's fine. Glaive? Oh no, Glaive's already F tier. We covered that one already. Cool. That's it for D tier. C tier. Okay, cool. I'm gonna actually tab this up so it's like not much of a hassle for me to carry it all into the C tier. If anyone wants to have a review of the lower tiers, then just let me know. I'll scroll back down. But I think this is just an easier setup for me. And don't worry, I'll put this again on the Google Docs like I did for the ship tier list. And yeah, so you can see the whole tier list after this stream ends. Probably like I'll do it after I do the Thursday tier list. So expect it maybe this Sunday. I'll in a Google Doc form. Anyways, C tier. Let's start with the beams in this tier. So what do we have here? Halbert, as I mentioned, Lucerne also in here. Let's see. Speedum and Spontoon. Let me put pinpoint as well. Stiletto is in here. The I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's the piercing beam. Uh, Then there is also Ultra Burn from TRC. Ultra Burn. Oh wait, no, sorry, it should be like here. There we go. Cool. So these are the C tier beam weapons. Yeah, like I know the put spelling, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it like Gizeram or something? I don't know. It's fine. I'll just call it PS beam. So Albert and Lucerne are in the same category of at least they can force a surrender type of thing, you know. And Albert's more consistent than Lucerne, but Lucerne's also lower power and a bit faster. So it's I don't mind either, but I would definitely much rather have something that just outright disables the enemy than hoping for a good layout that I can beam through. Ultra Burn is 2 power. I can just pull up the stats. Hang on. I can just pull up the stats. Let me find Ultra Burn and I'll pull up my screen. Okay, found it. Cool. Ultra Burn. 2 power, 12 seconds. Very short beam length. One damage, one of all damage, guaranteed to start fires. Now, it's not so much the fact that the it can strip fire immunity from crew. I don't really care about that part. The best part about this weapon is the fact that technically you could like if you take this room as an example, you could aim it like specifically from here to here, and then you start 3 tiles of fire in one room. So that's like the best thing about the weapon easily. And the fact that it's 12 seconds is actually pretty good for a beam. Yeah, the boost fire damage, I do not care about that at all. It's mainly the fact that it does instant system damage and starts fire, guarantees to start fires on 3 tiles. That's what I like about it. With that said, it does get countered by 2 tiles in a sense, like semi-countered because then you can only start 2 tiles of fire. Yeah, yeah. So you can just do that or do that. you have flexibility, which I like. So see it here. It's not game breaking or anything, so that's fine. All right. Yeah, we can turn off that display again. Cool. Um, okay. Pierce Beam is a fantastic. I have what is called fantastic. It's decent early game because it's one of those things that kind of just works on its own because of the two shield pierce, but the effect efficiency is quite bad. Like it's too powerful one damage. Yes, it can breach. Yes, it pierces two shields, but it's also slow and the cooldown is not exactly fast. Like Ultra Burn, I would say is better than the Pierce Beam. Yeah, yeah, good point. It's not very long. It's just it's all those things where like it's a long term lucerne if you think about it. It's like you don't have the ability to instantly zap a whole bunch of the hull by damaging systemless rooms, but you can kind of just keep shooting this. It's fine. I was thinking of putting it in D, but I think at least the fact that most early game enemies only have two or three shields, so you can really consistently just chip away enemies with this. And it's actually more so targeted at one or two shield chips. This thing, I think, falls off very hard once you start facing three shield enemies. So there's that. But at least most of early game is dominated by one or two shield enemies, so it's up here. Yeah, if you look at the late game tail, this thing is not even up here. It's probably like D or niche. Stiletto, 3 power for 4 damage. At least it's guaranteed. That's why it's higher than the other 3 power 4 shot lasers. So yeah, that's the main thing about it. Speedum, 1 power, 1 damage. It's fine. Nothing to go crazy about. Same as Pontoons. Pontoons takes no power, but it's also a lot longer, so there's like that trade-off, which they are both about the same, I would say. Those are the beams. Now we have the ions. Let's go to the ions. Actually, no, let's go through all the simple weapons because I think a lot of people are surprised by the fact that defense laser is gonna show up. Uh, simple ion one, a lot of these cheap one power weapons that seem to do not much, but they're fine. Let's see. Stun one, light one. Oh, chain guy I put in here as well because I know it got nerfed a lot, but it's functionally still basically on the same tier as the defense laser at worst. So it's not that bad. Cool. Yeah, so these are all the just cheap one power, doesn't do a lot, but it still does something weapons. Speed and 4 damage swipes, yeah. Yeah, it's fun, but I still want more system damage. So yeah. So all these weapons, they can't be any higher than C tier, but for what it's worth, they do their job of just one damage, sorry, one one power takes out one shield. Simple. It's not complicated, it's not insane, it's just it exists. It's fine. It's something you can just slot onto any weapon build quite easily, I would say. Like one power weapons are very good because they slot into a lot of builds very easily. Adding one power bar is a lot easier than adding two power bars to your weapon system. So just adding one power for one extra shield down, that's okay. I'm not gonna complain about that. Why isn't Vito in C? Because it's in B. No, I'll get more to that later on. Chinga is in a weird spot. I agree. Well, functionally, it's not that much. Like it's on par with defense laser, so can't put it any lower. Yeah, not overwhelming. Ah, those who remember where it used to completely outclass chain laser. That was fun. Now we actually talk about the ions. Spixie ion from TRC. Uh, ion charge and hang on, where are they? Yeah, charge ion and stun ion. Sorry, no, stun charger. Yeah. Energy tree, charge energy, energy stunner. Oh, phase two, phase energy from TRC and tri ion. Where is it? Trion. There we go. Cool. All right. So energy tree got a pretty nice buff, I think. Like cooldown got decreased from 16 to 14.5 seconds, and I think that definitely made a difference. It's still a bit dubious because tree power for three shots is not amazing, but it's at least fast-ish now, and it does knock down three shield, and it's a lot more consistent than Iron Flag. Because if you shoot this at an enemy weapons, you take down three weapons, guaranteed. Well, apart from natural evasion, but it's way more likely than Iron Flag because Iron Flag has a radius. So there's that. Energy charge is basically the same with a bit more flexibility. Energy stunner, I don't rate the stun that well, but it's fine. It just two power, two shields. That is iron, I guess. And if you shoot it the weapon, it takes down two weapons, so that's nice. Phase two is in an awkward spot because it's technically better than Ion 2, but if you shoot it at weapons, then it's not much better than phase one, so why are you paying 2 power for it? If you shoot it at shields, then you essentially lock yourself out of the option of shooting at the weapons if you want to change stack on shield. Not saying it's bad in the department, but it's like it has to choose one. It's not super flexible, and whatever it chooses, there's just something that usually does it better in the higher tiers. Phase energy is kind of similar to phase two. I'm not going to repeat myself. Tri-ion basically power crept heavy ion as the ion shield breaker in a sense. Very fast. Radius is not that big of a deal if you're just using it to break shields. So yeah, overall, yeah, it's very decent. I'm not annoyed to get one, unlike before the buff. Phase two could be a little faster, maybe. Yeah, it's 7 seconds right now, right? So, um, I don't know how much I'd buff it, or maybe it's fine because like the C tier weapons are really I don't find any real offense with them. First of all, I'd definitely be looking at buffing all of the niche or F tier weapons because I think these ones we really need to give attention to. Like I know phase two doesn't feel amazing, but it's not objectively terrible, is what I would say. Yes, next up, what do we have here? Okay, lasers and flag. Mostly flag, but also some lasers. Okay, amp laser. Oh wait, wait, sorry, I forgot to mention these three. This 50 ion is up here because the shield pierce. That shield pierce already just puts it immediately one tier higher than fire ion because it has functionally the same stats otherwise. Charge ions, like the good thing is the flexibility of being a charge weapon. So you don't have to like all or nothing wait 15 seconds like heavy ion. Plus, if you shoot this separately at weapons, like as in you charge up your shot and then you shoot three iron projectiles at weapons, you can turn off three weapons. It's not it doesn't matter what power the weapons have, you just turn three of them at the same time. So that's nice. I mean, admittedly, I do think it's like one of the lower ends of C tier, but it is fine. Anyways, back to the lasers and amp lasers there. Chain anti-hull, I believe I put here. Yep. Chain flag. What else? Oh, the other elemental flags. So we've got uh, what is it? Fire flag, rat flag, and frost flag. Then we also have frost 2 itself. Heavy tree, heavy tree, and yeah, that's the lasers in this category. So no, no, yeah, okay, got everything. Cool. Some of these are just they're not that efficient, but they are good enough in a sense. Like they have something to compensate. We look at these three basically rec rooms, like well, more so fire flag and frost flag than rat flag, but rat flag also just kills the whoever's inside, and it's a bit faster, so it's more of a give or take here. You win some, you lose some. For these, uh, chain weapons just start a bit too slow, but otherwise they're pretty decent on power efficiency. That's why the base weapons like and how one is higher, normal flag two is higher. The shot efficiency is there. Amplifier is a bit weird. Technically, it is fast, but to be fast and safe, it is not very damage efficient. To be damage efficient, it is not very safe because if you want it to be damage efficient, you have to turn it to 3 or 4 power, and that makes it very likely to get shot down by a stray heavy laser or something. And plus, it means you need to dedicate more power to your weapon system. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, no matter which way you tune thing, whichever stat you use. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Most of them here are workable. I'm not gonna be mad if I just keep getting C tier weapons. They're fine. Heavy tree, too slow, but otherwise efficiency is great. Next, ballistics. Okay. I think yeah, we haven't talked much about ballistics, and that goes to show how good ballistics are in the early game. Such that I think the only real ballistic we've mentioned are the very niche ones like fire bomb, mutant bomb, arachno bomb, stim bomb. The good ones are yet to come, but we're gonna see some of them here. So, Percy's is up. Repair burst. Nyx. Kane Colonel. Kane Spore. And I think that's it. Okay, cool. So we've got five. Oh, well, I mean, burst repair burst is a bit different, but we have essentially 5 ballistic weapons here. Percy's is just too power intensive and too slow. 3 power for 3 damage, 19 seconds. Yes, I understand it does splash damage around it, but that's ship dependent. You don't always get value from that. And sometimes, like I said, you just want weapons down. You don't care if they are doors and mech bay get hit. You want weapons down. And Percy's is one of the worst ballistic missiles for that. Nyx also pretty bad ratio, 2 power, 2 damage in 16 seconds. But at least it's a guaranteed hit, so that's nice. Chain Kernel, oh, I wanted to put this lower, but with the fairies, it is kind of fast. Like 11 seconds is really good time, I have to say. Gotta give credit where credit is due. And then after that, it gets faster. Like, yes, it is still not good. 3 power for 1 damage. But at least that 1 damage is fast-ish. Like, if it was 13 seconds, I would have no qualms putting it down in D tier. But 11 seconds does outpace quite a lot of stuff. Chain Spore, it's less power intensive than Chain Heavy. Slower at the start. It also winds up like crazy. So, like, the thing about chain ballistic weapons is that they are fine as your only weapon because they actually deal how I would say it. The system damage they deal is a lot more consistent than something like Vulcan. Vulcan, it can spin up, but it's still not even consistent at doing damage because of the radius and whatnot, and the enemy regenerating shields and all. With ballistic weapons, you don't care about shields. So once they spin up, they spin up. And they don't need other supporting weapons to deal system damage for them. These two, they can deal system damage in themselves, by themselves. So they're not as reliant on other weapons like Vulcan, like Chain Energy, like some of the other chain weapons that were just lower in the list, you know. Repair Burst, look, it's a good safety option, but it also takes a weapon slot. So if you have this in an active battle, it's basically a fallback get out of jail card. It's not, it's, what's the word for it? That's a good word. It's something about it doesn't prevent the issue, it just solves it. But I'd rather have some weapon that prevents me getting damaged than something that patches me up later, you know? But all in all, it's still a pretty good, like, safety option. Somehow 18-second Hades is not here in C tier. Yeah, Hades is interesting, like, because the guaranteed fire is still a thing. So I can't really put it that low because of that. But it will come soon, I think. No, failsafe is not a word. It's that word is. Hang on, everything just disconnected for some reason. Did the music turn off or did I just forget to turn it back on? Gosh. Oh wait, I forgot to like have the entire playlist on loop. That's why the music failed. Oh gosh. Okay, hang on. Let me turn back on music. No wonder it was sounding so quiet in here. I need to select all, not just one. Damn it. Okay, fine. Okay, there we go. Okay, music should be up for good this time. Anyways, let's get back to the tier list. Yeah. What else is there to see here? I think just a bunch of miscellaneous weapons. me see. Okay. Oh, Virulent, I was gonna put this in D tier. I hesitated last moment and put it bottom C tier. Collider 1, Collider 2. No, I think that's it. I think that's everything else, quote unquote, miscellaneous. Everything else has been put into C tier. Oh, hang on. Oh, Crystal Heavy 2. Missed that somehow. Yep. Cool, I think it's the entire C tier. Nice. Okay, how are we doing on time? Not great. Let's just I'm gonna speed things up a bit. We still have quite a bunch of weapons to get through. But, okay. Music a bit. Okay, actually. Yeah, music a bit loud. Cool. Let me just knock that down a notch. Cool. Okay, half the volume should be better now, I hope. Alright, where were we? Yes, these last 4 weapons in C tier. Now, putting Analyst in D tier made me reconsider putting Marlon in like C tier, because in early game, I've already mentioned this when I was talking about the Pierce Beam, most enemies are 1 or 2 shields. So functionally, Analyst is basically like Virulent in a sense. And when Virulent pierces all shields, it's not even that big of a deal because, yeah, most enemies only have 2 shields this early on. So, what are we really paying for here? We pay 1 more power for the ability to hit an entire room and adjacent rooms. Which is... meh, it's not great. Like, it's a bit slower. But, yes, it can kill crew. Yes, like... If your other weapons go down and you have 2 power left, yes, you can use it to kill the remaining crew. Does that make it a good weapon? No, because it does take time. Like, it takes about, I think, 20 seconds to kill a human. So, while the theoretical damage is higher, it's, you know what? Okay, fine, I should really not be putting this that much higher than Analyst, I'm sorry. This should definitely be in the same tier as Analyst. But why I consider it better than the other rad weapons in F tier is because at least it's self-sustaining. It doesn't require shields to be down or something. It can actually push through and do its own thing without having to like sync up. Oh, absolutely not. I do not buy rank weapons willingly. That's just a fact. Now, Collider weapons. So, particle weapons, as a spoiler, particle weapons appear in B tier, particle 1, particle 2. They're just straight up better version of these because Collider 1, yes, the cooldown is lower, but like hardly any shield breaker shoots in 8 seconds. So the faster cooldown on this is quite negligible. I would rather just wait 13 seconds and shoot particle 1 that has fires and 3 projectiles instead of Collider with 2 projectiles. And then Collider 2 has the reverse issue where the cooldown is too long. Like, yes, it does shoot 1 more projectile than Particle 2, but I would rather Particle 2 shooting in 15 seconds than Collider 2 shooting in 17 seconds. Which I find quite hilarious, just how Collider 1 and Collider 2 have the opposite issues of what makes Particle 1 and Particle 2 good. Not to say that they are horrible, but they're just not on the same level, and that reflects in them being in the C tier instead of the B tier. Crystal Heavy 2, like, 2 power for 4 damage is good, but it gets soft countered pretty easily. Like, 1, it gets shot down by defense drones, 2, it's all power packed into 1 projectile, meaning if it misses, it hurts, 3, it's kind of slow, so efficiency, great, everything else, really bad. So, C tier is all it gets. And with that, I believe we have everything in the C tier, so let's move on to the B tier and let's hurry this up, I guess. Now, B tier. What's in here? Let's start with beams, I guess, because it's a tradition. Pre-torch. Not that many beams. Yeah, guys, beams are just kind of bad. Oh wait, no, there's one more. Fangtian from TRC. Cool. So these are the only two beams in B tier. That's kind of sad. Do we even have any more beam weapons? We have pinpoints. I think that was the last beam. Yeah, I think these are the last beams, and they're not even real beams. They're like weird, gimmicky beams. So rip the beam class, I guess. Okay, pre-torch. Yeah, pre-torch. Definitely, pre-weapons are good early game, 100%. The issue is that pre-torch is the most counterable out of the three, in the sense that it doesn't. Yes, while it is technically preemptive, it shoots immediately at the start of the fight. The effects are not immediate because the fire takes time to burn. Plus, it gets countered if the enemy has a 2-tile offensive system room. So if their weapons is 2 tiles, if their drones is 2 tiles, it gets countered. If the enemy has a repair drone, it gets countered. If the enemy has rock crew, good repairers, it gets countered. So, but for all that's said, it's still preemptive. It still shoots guaranteed fires. Like the guaranteed fire bit is pretty good, and that's what puts it significantly above torch. 0 power guaranteed fires, instant cooldown. So, despite it having a lot of soft counters and 1 or 2 hard counters, it's still a preemptive weapon that actually gets the enemy panicking. So, fire feels better when it's compounding existing problems. That is true, right? So that's where pre-torch can really sell. So in the side cases where it can start a fire at the very start of the fight, it needs to have good conditions for that to happen, whereby the enemy does have good repair crew, the enemy does have repair drones, and the weapon or drone system is big enough for you to burn it down. So there's just a bunch of conditions that make it not consistent enough for the A tier, but it's still good enough. And Fangtian is like, it's guaranteed. It's also similar to pre-torch. It gets countered by small system rooms, but unlike the other knockoff beam weapons that do system damage, this one actually does 3 system damage to a 2x2 room, and it does system damage to other rooms as well. So this is a rare case of a beam weapon doing system damage being okay, because it can do 3 damage to the base room, that's what we want. 3 damage for 2 power. That's a very respectable ratio. I'm not going to complain about that. And as a side effect, it could damage other rooms, so that's nice. It requires categories for the cascade. Yeah, that's one way you could think about it. Those are the beams. Say goodbye to the beam class because we have no more beams left. Sorry, I gotta catch a breath. Dude, I've been talking for a lot. Okay. Cool. I just hope I don't wake up tomorrow with a sore throat. Anyways, where were we? Let's talk about ion weapons, because any ion weapon up here, honestly, a bit surprising, because I personally do not like ions, but I have to admit some of these are actually pretty decent. So, conservative energy, conservative ion, energy to fire energy TRC, phase 1, system shock, and where's that thing? Wait, what? Oh, there it is. Ion magnifier. Cool. So, conservative energy is basically better conservative ion. Yeah, for the most part I do agree. But they're also quite similar, so I don't see a reason to put one a tier above the other. Exactly, they're here because they're free. And yeah, that's the thing. Free weapons are really good because you can just, when you buy them, they are instant upgrade to your weapon system. You do not need to buy weapon power. They just go in there and just start doing their thing. Slight slight foreshadowing of the S plus tier, but I digress. So coming back to these, yes, these two are good because they are free. Energy 2 is like that rare good-ish energy weapon because it's kind of, it's not bad. It's 2 power 2 shots, which is not a great ratio admittedly, but it comes packed with ion, and the cooldown is fast enough that if you weapon train on this thing can stack. And some other ion weapons that can stack, they do so with a cost, in the sense like heavy ion packs everything into one projectile, which when you miss it's really bad, and it also takes longer to cool down. Phase 2, by shield stacking, you don't get to use it against other rooms. But Energy 2 is kind of like that. This is slightly better than the others, so it barely makes it into the B tier. I think it's definitely one of the lowest weapons of B tier, but it does make it in because it can knock off 2 weapons at once, and I think that's pretty underrated aspect about it. Yeah, welcome to Multiverse. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Yes, Energy 2 is basically the middle done right. I kind of like it. Like, as a guy who just does not like iron weapons or energy weapons a lot, Energy 2 I do have a soft spot for. It's good enough for me. Fire Energy is in the same situation, but while you trade the ability to stack, you also can just straight up two flaming iron projectiles into weapons, which is kind of good, to be honest. Knocks off 2 weapons immediately and could start 2 fires. So that's that. Phase 1 is basically phase 2, but you're not forced to shoot at shields. Here's the thing with phase 1. If you want a shield stack, you still can. If you don't want a shield stack, that's fine. You can still shoot at weapons. So you take down 1 shield and 1 weapon for just 1 power. You don't have to use 2 power like phase 2, because by knocking off their weapons for 5 seconds, by the time that 5 seconds is over, your phase 2 only has 6 seconds to go, and no enemy weapon charges in 6 seconds. That is dangerous. Like, yes, they have light 1, but nothing like heavy 1, Artemis, lethal, nothing. Your phase 1 will effectively hold 1 weapon down for 1 power, and that's pretty good compared to something like phase 2, which takes 2 power to do almost the same thing. So that's why phase 1 is higher than phase 2 in my opinion. Beat the true ending? Nice. You're in the camp with iron weapons. You'd rather have something that can get rid of shield and damage after. Yeah, I do. I mean, I might be biased against iron weapons, but so far, even from talking with most other people not named Gabriel, like, most people don't like iron weapons from what I can see. They do prefer their lasers and flags, just because, like, permanent system damage is just better than 5-second disruption. Semi-permanent damage it with after 5 seconds. Yeah, okay. Next is System Shock, hard carried by the 2 shield tiers. Like, yeah, it's just 2 iron and 2 shield tiers, so it's basically a significantly better version of phase 2 in the early game. That's all I can say. It also does like 1 iron to surrounding systems, which is pretty cool, but not something I would always focus on getting value out of. But it's nice. So yeah, early game is this high. Late game it probably drops down a bit because the 2 shield tiers is not as good anymore, but it's still very decent. Iron Mag is like, if we just took Iron 1 and just gave it a direct upgrade of flexibility, so it also gets accuracy for some reason, so it's a huge upgrade to Iron 1. Not that that's saying much, because Iron 1 by itself is not an outstanding weapon, but it's good. So it's just decent. So that by default makes Iron Magnifier. For the added flexibility, Iron Magnifier is a tier above. Uh, yeah, Ion Field does troll enemy ships quite a bit. Yeah, Ions are inefficient in projectile count, exactly. Like, two power, two projectiles barely makes the cut for B tier, just because of the other surrounding aspects of it. And then stuff like, the one that's actually efficient is like Tri-Ion, and that's because the weight is so massive, you could probably miss a 4x2. But at least it's good for taking out shield, so there's that. One of those critical mass effects, it's hard to get all the pieces you need. Yeah, that's a pretty good summary. It's just because ions really rely on stacking. Because if they don't stack, then they're not much better than a laser, really. Because of their low projectile count compared to lasers, if you're not stacking, then why are you using ions instead of lasers? Like looking at C tier, yeah, defense laser versus ion one. This ratio is the same, so there's not. I would prefer a defense laser to be honest, because iron one just temporarily shuts down one shield layer and doesn't stack, so the shield layer is gonna come up anyways. So why don't I just use a defense laser that can also pop shields and damage systems? And then it just gets worse later on because like Energy 2, as much as I say it's fine, it's competing against the likes of Burst 2, Howl 2, Charge 2, which is all just better. Yeah, 2 and plus 1. Okay, that's Ion. Let's go on to... Let's see. Let's talk about lasers since we're on that topic. Here's Magnifier. Flat 3. I'm gonna add the particle lasers here as well, because lasers, I guess. Let's just throw in where is it? Neural Crystal as well. Neural Crystal, Crystal 2 here, yeah. Okay, next. Okay, specifically, I did put Anti-Howl 1 and Anti-Howl 2 in B tier, but I want to say that they are at the very top of B tier. This is the one time I'm making an exception and ranking something within the tier. These two are very top of B tier. I just couldn't bear to put them on the same tier as Burst 1 and Burst 2, because I objectively do think the 2-second difference is quite big. But at the same time, these are still very solid weapons, so B tier is fine. Top of B tier. What else? PS1. Fire Starter. Frost 1. Chain Burst. Conservative Laser. If I can find it. There we go. Charge 3, Charge Heavy, and Compact Laser. Cool. Oh, there's a lot of lasers, crystals, particle guns, all that stuff. All that good stuff. Rad weapons? Ah, yeah, rad weapons. Yeah. Yeah, the rare weapons are kind of down here. So, and basis of that is that they deal no coup damage. So, gosh dang it, I got my words mixed up. The only thing they do is coup damage, damn it. They don't do system damage or hull damage. Yeah. And system damage is king, especially in early game of FTL. That's one thing you need to know. System damage is the all-important thing. everything in S plus or S tier is like insane at dealing system damage. You will see what I mean later on. But the most dangerous fights needs to be disabled by having good system damage of your own. That's why anti-bio weapons are very low. Uh, Iron works better on drones. Yeah, true. Here's Magnifier. Here's Magnifier is an example of a weapon that falls. It's basically like a pierce beam. It falls off very hard once enemies start getting a lot more shields. Because once enemies start getting a lot more shields, you have better defenses. You have just things with better efficiency. The How I would think about it is basically like an Artemis that costs one more power but doesn't use missiles. But it's also slower because if you want to pierce more than one shield, you have to wait a lot longer. So it's like the awkward spot of being, it's kind of self-sustaining, but the efficiency is bad. So I can't put this any higher than B tier. Yeah, newer crystal S tier on one shield ships and then it just falls off as soon as you face two shield enemies. Like any of the other crystal weapons, any of the other one power crystal weapons are just better once enemies have more than one shield. With the crew murder stuff, so crew is fine. Like 2 crew is not too bad. The problem is once you get to sector 2, renegades typically have 3 or 4 crew. Because I think there's some with 2 crew, but those are pretty rare. Most of them have 3 or 4 crew. By that time, like they can start raining down damage on you. And the thing with damaging the enemy back, you don't have to kill them completely, even though there's one option. But just having some system damage greatly improves your odds at survival. Put it this way, an enemy has a nasty weapon setup. Let's say burst 2 frag 1. Wait, hang on. No, it's frag 2 in Multiverse. Burst 2 frag 2 heavy 1. If you focus on crew carrying the enemies, that 5 power weapon system stays up at all times. Now, and that means there's 8 damage worth of projectiles coming at you. 6 projectiles which deal 1 damage, and 1 projectile that deals 2 damage. Because burst 2 has 3 projectiles, frag 2 has 3 projectiles. Right. So that's a lot to deal with. Now, consider if you had an Artemis, let's say. If you had an Artemis and you shot it at their weapon system. So they're down from 5 power to 3 power. That means they can only run 1 2 power gun and 1 power gun. So they can run, let's say, burst 2 with a heavy one. And suddenly this becomes a lot more manageable because instead of shooting 7 projectiles at you, they're shooting 4 projectiles at you. So the chance of you getting hit in bad locations is a lot lower. Because I know the projectiles don't come in the entire volley at the same time, but if they do time out well, which they will if you're spending too much time crew killing and not dealing system damage, then when they do time up, they're gonna compound. Like there's just when your shields are down, any stray projectile, the more stray projectiles come in, the more likely your shields, weapons, critical systems are gonna get hit. But by minimizing the amount of stuff they shoot at us, then each volley is just significantly less dangerous because your shields already absorb most of the impact. So if they only have a burst 2 and a heavy 1 up, the most damage they can do to you is 3. If they have the flag 2 up as well, the most damage they can do to you is 6. And that's a big difference. So that's just a quick comparison of why system damage is so important. Yeah. Conservative laser is great also. Yes, good point. Conservative laser is exactly how a conservative weapon should be balanced. If you look at burst 1 costs 1 power, is 12 seconds. Conservative laser costs no power, but it's 18 seconds. That's a 50% time increase, which is very significant. But it's reasonable because it costs no power. Costing no power is a very big deal. Even after they nerf conservative weapons and all that, with the whole you need power and weapons to be able to charge it, it's still very good because it's a direct upgrade to your offense without upgrading your weapon system at all. So it needs to have some drawbacks, and adding 6 seconds of cooldown, I think that's great. I don't know if it's a bit overkill, but it's fine. I think that's a good standard of how to balance conservative weapons, unlike some weapons. Anyways, so let's see. Yeah. You use your main weapons to take. That's what you meant with enemies. You use your main weapons to take out the weapons and use the enemies to save the kill of the crew. Yes. Yeah, what Sorter said. The analyst, that's not saying the analyst is good. It's just there for the crew kill. Okay. Another example of the rare weapon issue that I have. So, okay, first of all, I want to say rare weapons, especially analysts, is not that bad on 4 weapon slot ships when you have a lot more flexibility. It's when you try cramming it onto a 3 weapon slot ship that I tend to raise an eyebrow. So, if you have analysts permanently powered on, that's one power that could go to Artemis, Bomb Launcher, Breach Bomb, Burst 1, the Crystal Heavy one, Crystal 1, Heavy 1. Okay, there's so many good 1 power weapons like that are remaining. I can't name them all, but you get the point. So suppose we ran into a dangerous enemy fight, a dangerous renegade. If you want some examples of dangerous renegades, you can look at my video on why early game is dangerous. I managed to generate some very dangerous enemies that are possible in Sector 2. So just using those as an example, right? The fact that we lose 2 system damage for analysts, it's bad because whatever weapons we had to deal with the enemy ship normally, it could be that plus another 2 system damage if we replace analysts with something better. And against these sort of ships that are very dangerous, you need as much system damage as possible. If, let's say you are using Flak 1 Burst 1 analyst, 3 power weapon system, you run into a dangerous renegade in Sector 2. Now, suppose you had a heavy 1 in your cargo, but you're on a 3 weapon slot ship and you use analyst instead of heavy 1 because you wanted to get some crew kills. Now you run into this renegade and you have an issue. Your primary offense is a Flak 1 Burst Laser 1, which does like 4 projectiles, 1 damage each. So your damage potential just went from 4 damage per volley. So it went from 6 damage per volley if you had a heavy 1 to 4 damage per volley if you just had the Flak 1 Burst 1. And that's very important because should those shots miss, should one shot miss, let's say, then to 2 shields you deal 1 damage. And dealing 1 damage is a lot different from dealing 3 damage. So put that into perspective. I hope you understand the example I'm giving. It's like, just because it's not so much a difference of 4 damage versus 6 damage, because after considering shield breaking, it's more of a question of 1 damage versus 3 damage. Like, that's the main thing. It's like 3 damage is system damage that can literally secure you in fight. You shoot that into any renegade weapons, you are probably safe. You shoot that into a renegade with like 2 combat drones, you turn off both combat drones. Unless it was one of those 3 power combat drones, but that's fine. And you also, it's just, the more system damage you have in your arsenal, the safer you are. The more shots miss, that's fine, you still have more system damage to come. If something would have missed where you only had Burst 1 and Flak 1, you have an extra shot in Heavy Laser 1 to help you compensate for that, which does not exist if you replace the Heavy 1 with an Analyst. And like I said, this is why I think Analyst is a much bigger issue on 3 weapon slot ships. If it's on a 4 weapon slot ship and my 4th slot is currently doing nothing, I'm fine to leave Analyst there. I'll turn it on when the fight becomes safe. But until the fight becomes safe, it is actively hurting me to not have a system damaging weapon when running compared to Analyst. Yeah, that was a long rant, but I hope you get the point. Okay, let me see. Yeah, if you get it for free, it's way more legit. I would never buy a red weapon though. Like, scrap is super tight early game because you're trying to upgrade your offense, you're trying to upgrade your defense, you're trying to save up for hacking and cloaking. So, and you also when you use Sector 4, you need to save 45 scrap at all times to pay the renegade tax. So, buying you if you buy a red weapon to cool kill, you it's basically like a scrap arm investment. You 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 pay some scrap down upfront to gain more scrap later on. Except this one's actually dangerous because it replaces actually good weapons for something that doesn't do system damage. So buying red weapons, you could see as being worse than buying scrap arm. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Uh, yeah, I'm glad it's helpful. Hope, hopefully, I think this is just I don't know because sometimes I feel like people ask me why I absolutely hate red weapons, and I hope like I can explain that. Why scrap arm bad? Okay, they come back to why investments in FTL are bad in general, and it's because the early game in FTL is the most dangerous for any experienced player. Those are the times that kills you more than the late game. Because this applies to both multiverse and vanilla FTL by the way. If you if you build a good ship and get to sector 8 without any major hiccups or like major deficits, you are going to win the game. You have enough tools and utility on your side to because the flagship is a constant fight that never changes, so you always know how to prepare for that. If you're prepared for that, cool, you're gonna win. The main problem is in early sectors when you do not get enough time to prepare. I'm wondering if I can pull up an example right now. I need to pull up the code though. Let me see if I remember the commands. Um, no, I need to check it. Okay, bear with me. I'll pull up some code from the files and I will know exactly what to show. It also gives me a chance to catch my breath because, oh, that's a lot of talking. Yeah, I think Extra Shorty just explained it basically. Like that's why scrap arm is bad. It's opportunity cost when you should really be spending the scrap on defending yourself. And the crux of this argument is that scrap in the early game is a lot more important. That's why an investment early game is bad because late game it doesn't really matter that much. So let me see if I can find it. Mm, I want to show you some good examples right now on stream, right? Okay, guys, I'm sorry if this is lagging because there's like by opening up the game file, I've basically just exploded my laptop. There's so much stuff running at the same time. Wait, hang on. No, I made a list for this back in Discord, I think. Let me just check. Because what I can do right now with the command prompt, I can basically show you some of the most dangerous fights. Um, I think I found it. I think I found it. Let's see. Empty, rock. No. Shell 2, 1. Ah, damn it. What was the command? Ah, I forgot the command to spawn an enemy. Load. Okay, thank you. There we go. I was trying to forgot the command to load. Okay, cool. Empty shell 2, 1. Okay. So as we can see here, this is a legit renegade in Sector 2, by the way. First of all, hacking, toxic gas. What was this? 3 power weapons, 3 power drones. Okay, I know I don't have shields, but assume I had shields, right? Even then, this is a danger. Because that can hack my shields, this thing goes to town, these weapons go to town. So I have phase 1 fires in 11 seconds, Frost 1 fires in 13 seconds. I have about 11 to 13 seconds before they shoot at me. So if my offense does not shoot at them within 11 to 13 seconds, they could very well knock out my shields and weapons. Good point. Damn it, I keep forgetting I turned off my thing. Okay. There we go. Because I turned off the game display so that we could so that most of the tiers was visible, because I didn't expect to be getting into a demo right now. But yeah, basically this is an enemy. This is a possible enemy in Sector 2. And looking at this setup, this is not even the most dangerous I've seen of this enemy. Like the fact is that there are some encounters that are just so what's the word for it? So nonsense that it can throw you off. Let's just say that. Like, yes, over time it's not saying that you will find this sort of enemy every single run, but the existence of this enemy early on means that you need to be prepared for them as early as possible. Whereas in the late game, you have a lot more time to prepare, so the threat is not as significant. Wait, can you guys see the... Hang on. Can you guys see the game now? Because I think I turned it on. But YouTube is telling me that it's like lagging, so I don't even know whether you guys can see the... Can you guys see the game? Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Thank you. Okay, cool. I mean, here's something that I would consider like seriously dangerous. 3 drone power. This thing shoots 2 projectiles, so say goodbye to your shield. Pierces 2 projectiles, both pierce shields, missile, hacking. Like, this is a renegade that can kill you. It's Sector 2. It can appear as early as jump 1 of Sector 2. So yeah, I think the way you explain it is pretty good, Wei Jun. Yeah. It's you wanna be prepared for this, right? Because these are the most dangerous fights. And sometimes on some bad ships, you don't have the time, such that your only option is to shoot enemy weapons, shoot the offense, but while you're taking damage, try to run away. And that's why system damage is so important, because if you do not triple this guy's offense, he's probably gonna kill you before you even get to run away. But and again, coming back to the lethal argument, if you shoot a single lethal into the enemy drone system, you're taking off this pressure completely for 12 seconds at least. That's really, really good, which is why even one or two extra system damage that you can just spread around, it's just really good. First jump stack, ooh, heavy laser pirate. Oh, don't remind me. We died to that before. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to check my TRC Castro gameplay, I died like jump 1 because the enemy pirate ship had 2 heavy lasers and they shot my weapons and it just spiraled after that. That's an example, but that's basically what I'm trying to say. That's one thing that's very hard to counter. Late game, I countered that by hacking their weapons, I countered that by cloaking, I countered that by running away, I countered that with significantly better offense, significantly better defense. So it's just the early game enemies scale a lot harder than you do. That's the point I'm trying to make. And it's not limited to just this event, by the way. So we could go event and count the level Hausa. Yeah. So drone ships are possible at a Hausa beacon. So that's fun. We also have I'll just show one more. Which 2, 1. So 4 power worth of iron weapons and a bunch of drones. Also, this guy could have mind control. I think just got lucky to not roll it, I think. I'm pretty sure this guy had, yeah, there we go. That's mind control. Oh, now look, this is something that kills you. Fast iron weapons and paired with this thing, like yeah. Okay, so anyways, I hope I've made a point. Like, but if you want to see a bigger explanation of this, I have a full video on that. The why early game is dangerous sort of video. It should be very recent because I don't do much videos now. I do mostly streams. But yeah, you can check that out. I'd recommend that. Anyways, for now we need to get back to the tier list because I do not have a lot of time left. So we are. Yeah, let me just jump to an empty beacon. Oh, damn it. Damn it, Leia. Okay, cool, we've got store in case we want to show anything. But that's it for now. We're gonna turn off the game display, get back to the tier list. Yeah, early game is the only time I want to see those guys. Anyways, we are... Where were we? We were talking about... We somehow got side... Oh, no, someone asked a question about anti-bio weapons and we got sidetracked back to that. Okay, no, we were actually on lasers in the B tier. I talked about these. These two are great. Just the 2-second cooldown difference between them and the burst laser is too much for me to put them in the same tier, but they're top of the B tier, very solid. Pierce Max, fantastic early on, falls off very hard later on though. So you will see this be a lot lower in the late game weapon tier list that I'll be doing on tier Thursday. Flag 3 is... Oh, I love this weapon, but 3 power is just too vulnerable in Sector 1. Well, in early game. Yes, 13-second cooldown is kind of fast, but it still loses to a heavy laser, so that is something you have to keep in mind. Yeah. Okay, Particle 1, Particle 2, very efficient at dealing with systems. The main drawback is of course the fact that they are completely useless if you do not knock down all shields. So they are definitely not as general as the other top weapons, not as versatile. Newer Crystal sort of said it perfectly. Insane against one-shield ships, but falls off against other ships, because against 2 shield ships, you'd rather have any of the other 1-power crystal weapons that can do 2 damage in 1 volley. Crystal 2 is too slow compared to the other weapons, but it's still 2 power 3 shots. It's good enough. Pierce 1. Now, Pierce 1 is something you probably use for system damage, and it's not bad, I guess. Because effectively, it's the same as the burst laser 2 if you think about it. Like, instead of knocking down 1 shield and then shooting 2 shots into weapons, you're shooting 2 shots through that 1 shield anyway, so functionally not that much different. Just make sure you have other things to break shields if you want to shoot a dirk or like a beam through or something like that. Firestarter and Frost, those just give bonus effects in the room, like starts fires or locks crew out of repairing it, so they're fine, but they're definitely not A-tier material. Yes, I think Flag Tree is like... Flag Tree is definitely better than these two, so Flag Tree... No, I'm not gonna move it higher, but it's probably the best. Are they about 3 power weapons? Oh, well, I can tell you Ares and Particle Missile are gonna show up here later on, but I think that's it. This is the end of the line for 3 power or more weapons. Everything else remaining is 1 or 2 power. No, sorry. Hang on. I won't spoil it. There's one more. There's only one 3 power weapon that made it out of B tier. It should be fairly obvious later on, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, for now, coming back to this, we did this. Chain Burst, it's just slower than Anti-Hull 1 as well, so obviously it has to be in this tier, but it's 1 power 2 shots. I cannot complain about that. Conservative Laser, we talked about already. Charge 3, for a 3 power weapon, at least it is fast because it is flexible in that sense. Yes, it is not shot efficient if you shoot it fast, but you have the option to shoot it fast or shoot it later. So that's a lot better than Burst 3 where you don't have the option. Same with Charge Heavy, though I guess this one's a bit more dubious because if you use 3 power for system damage, then you do not have a lot of power left to break through shields. So it's questionable, but I think it's fine because at worst, it will still be like Vanilla Heavy 2, where it's 3 power for 2 heavy laser shots. So it's fine. Compact Laser, like, it's better than the other 1 power, 1 damage guns because it breaks 1 shield for free, no power required. But the radius is horrible. Please don't rely on this thing to damage any systems. It's good at suppressing 1 shield layer. That's all I'm going to use it for. On the topic of ballistics, since we dragged up Ares and Particle Missile in here, let me just drag up the remaining ballistics. Yes, I think Sworder would be surprised to see Stun Bomb this high. And Solar Kernel is actually still decent. I know some people make it seem like the nerf brought it down to the F tier, but no, it's still a good gun, guys. It's just not completely game-breaking anymore. And Mudhitch will be surprised to see Leto up this high. That's it. Okay, cool. We've got these 5 ballistics to talk about. So, yeah, Compact is conservative with laser. And faster, which is kind of funny. Anyways, Ares. Too slow, otherwise it's very good. If you shoot this into enemy weapons, their weapon system is going offline. Very few enemy weapon systems can sustain the damage of an Ares in early game. But it does take 17 seconds, so we can't overglaze it, right? It's definitely one of the slowest missile weapons. Same with Particle Missile. Particle Missile takes this to an even more extreme extent. No hull damage, and slower. But whatever it hits, it's gone. 6 system damage is nasty. Yeah, cooldown being long. Yeah, I know that's one thing to keep in mind, but the difference why long cooldown on ballistics is not as big of a deal as long cooldown on, let's say, beams and lasers, for example, is because ballistics are self-sufficient. They do not need to pair with other weapons to get through shields. They just do. Like, you shoot it at any time and it damages the enemy system. Whereas, think about, let's say, I know Mafan's cruiser starts with an efficient Sarisat. So let's use that as an example. Oh no, actually let's use Goendan Dark because Hacker A starts with it. So if you have to wait for Goendan Dark to charge up in 18 seconds. Let's say you got lucky, you found a Burst Laser 1 to help you knock down shields, and you upgrade your weapons to 5 power. If you take 1 damage in weapons and the burst 1 goes offline, you have nothing to break shields for the Goendan Dark. which means it's gonna get cooked against any enemy with 2 shields or more. On the other hand, if you look at the only 4 power missile that comes to mind in the standard weapons category is like Dianash, but that's not very standard. Anyways, so consider Dianash, and if you had a Dianash plus, I don't know, phase energy build, if your phase energy goes down, that does not impact the ability of your missile launcher to damage the enemy. That's the real summary of why I would say long cooldown, it is still bad, which is why you see Ares particle missile is lower than Artemis bomb, breach bomb, but it's not as bad as the other weapons that have to rely on something else to make work. Yeah. You could use the analyst argument with Rito. Why use Rito when you can? True, which is why Rito is in B tier, not any higher. But why Rito is way higher than Analyst is because Rito actually does 1 system damage. It's the difference. It actually does. And like I pointed out in that previous fight, 1 system damage on a separate weapon that you can aim at a separate room is all it takes to relieve the damage of an amp-flak drone. And that's very big, because sometimes if you do not disable enough things spiral. But if you just, sometimes all it takes is 1 extra system damage to knock off 1 extra enemy offense, and it's good enough to keep you from spiraling. All the way in B, low end of B, I have to admit, but and here's the thing, do you notice that a lot of the 1 power ballistics are still yet to come? So Rito being down here, I think, or rather Rito being up here, I think goes to show how strong the 1 power ballistic category is. Because 1 power weapons have the flexibility of 1, they're very easy to slot into any build, no matter what you're using. 2, pierce all shields, super self-sufficient, does not care a damn about what the rest of the weapon system is doing. The rest of your weapon system could be burning, but if you have 1 power, the Rito will keep firing, the Artemis will keep firing, the bomb will keep firing. That's something to relieve damage, relieve pressure off you. And obviously Rito does this worse than the others, which is again why it's in B tier, not higher. But if you look at the other weapons in B tier, is there any other weapon in here that can just deal 1 damage through any amount of shields with 1 power? I don't see any. Well, phase 1, to be fair, phase 1 is also good. That's why it's up here. But I think some of us really underestimate the power of 1 power weapons. It's very, not to say underrated, but underappreciated. But 6 or 5 second cooldown. I mean, if you put it in C, like, be my guest, I don't mind, but minimum C. Like, Rito, I know Rito sounds like a trash early game weapon that's bad at efficiency, but missile weapons are just that. Even if they have bad efficiency, they can save you the run. Especially 1 power, by the way. I know I talked about efficiency when talking about Nyx, for instance. I put Nyx and Percy's down here, but Nyx and Percy's are down here, 1 because of inefficiency, 2 because of high power use, and 3 because of long cooldown. And all those 3 reasons do not apply to, okay, no, if efficiency does apply to Rito, it's not that efficient, but the long cooldown and high power arguments do not apply to Rito, which is why I distinctly put Rito above Percy's and Nyx. Because in the early game, the chance of you running into multiple dangerous fights in a row is not that high. All things considered, most of the time you just have 1 really dangerous fight and there's that. At most 2. If you get 3, honestly, just pack it up. I guess the game just wants you to lose. But at that point, like, 3 kills a lot of things. So I think 3 is really, if you find 3 extremely dangerous enemies in a row, I think that's kind of a mute point, because only A or S tier ships are surviving that nonsense, right? But Rito, it will do just fine for a vast majority of situations, and that's why I have it in B tier. Laser Kestrel. Oh, Kestrel B. Kestrel B. Yeah, it does do pretty well early on, and then I think it has a bit of a scaling issue, but I think it was considered definitely top half of ships in the base game. So yeah, back to Rito. That's my 2 cents on Rito. I would personally put it in B tier because I think it's underrated. It's good. Yeah, fine. I'll leave it bottom of B tier. I don't want to overglaze it as well. But I hope you understand, like, 1 power weapons are just really good for early game. I know there are some very efficient 2 power weapons like Charge 2, but it's significantly easier to get up a 1 power weapon. Kind of, yeah. 3 shield enemies when radio. No, the other way around. Anyways, what else do I have here? We talked about Rito, we talked about those two. Stun Bomb. Stun Bomb is kind of in the same boat as Nyx, I think. Yeah. Long cooldown, but the fact that it's 2 power makes it less likely to get taken offline compared to Ares and Particle Missile. And also, any system you shoot this into is just gone. Like, 5 iron damage is an absolute nuke. This thing saves runs, by the way. The main problem is definitely 22-second cooldown is a long time. That's why it's in B tier and not higher. Solar Kernel, it's fine. It's not even that slow. It's just not efficient. Not that efficient. But the fire chance is nice. The replication is nice. So just a bunch of nice things, but nothing too overwhelming to make Solar Kernel AOS tier. Like a couple updates ago, Solar Kernel used to be like needs a nerf tier. Then they cut the cooldown. They added 3 seconds of cooldown and took away the guaranteed fires, which yeah, that hurt it pretty bad. But it's still pretty good, so it stays in B tier. Yeah. Damn it. Good point, good point. It's like do the demo. That's why we ended up here so long. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let's see what other let me check if there's anything else in the B tier. That might be it, to be honest. I don't think I'm missing anything. Everything else should be... No, I missed one weapon. Hang on. There should be... Sorry, I'm just cross-referencing the list of B tier weapons I have in my notes. There should be 31. There is 30. Cool, okay, so this is the final weapon I'm missing. Lockdown Bomb. Similar to Rito. It's definitely very similar to Rito. It's 1 power, 1 system damage. Whereas while Rito does hull damage and can just eventually kill the enemy, the advantage of Lockdown Bomb is that you can just spam Lockdown Bomb on the same room and chain lockdown. So you can effectively deny repair rate for quite a decent amount of time. However, again, 1 power for 1 system damage, so it's dubious as well. Can't put it that much higher because of that efficiency issue. Cool, that's the B tier. A tier next. Okay, gotta keep moving. Damn it, that opened Outlook again. I swear oh my gosh. Okay, A tier. Yeah, right, there's no iron weapons in here. What am I thinking? Okay, let's go straight to... I mean, this... A, S, they're all dominated by lasers, flags, and ballistics. There's basically no iron weapon in here aside from the obvious pre-ion, which is dumb broken anyways. So let's go with projectiles. So... Oh, we've got a lot in here. Pre-flag. Holy, a whole string of missiles. Okay, there we go. Yeah, here we see a lot of the standard, the good old reliables. Basically all this. Charge 2, burst 1. Chain heavy, charge 1. Flag 2. charge flag, flag 1. Oops, sorry, that's not S tier, that's A tier. Newer laser, heavy laser 2. What else? Let's join the crystal weapons as well. Yeah, all 3 crystal weapons made it. Hang on. No, yeah, that's fine. All 3 crystal weapons made it here. Trifecta also in here. Any other projectile? Oh, Pierce Heavy, yeah. You see a lot of the standard good weapons show up in here. Oh no, 2 more. The magnifiers, there we go. Oh, I think that's all of the projectile weapons in A tier. Right. So, yeah. Yeah, laser scale. I'm not gonna repeat myself on most of these, but the general idea between charge 2, all the way from there until heavy 2, all of these weapons at most have a 13.5 second cooldown to be rather efficient in their shots, and they all take 1 or 2 power. That's just a stable across the board, which is why they're so good. Decently fast, and they're pretty efficient. 1 power for 2 shots or 2 power for 3 shots. That's the gold standard you see here. Heavy 1, yes, heavy 1 fell off in that sense, because 1 power for 2 damage was an insane ratio in vanilla. You get that like literally on every single weapon now. That's not garbage. So yeah. Also, free flag. It's good, but at the same time, it's once a fight thing. So you don't use it to solve the fight completely, even though you can. Because Preflag really shines when you have a bunch of other high system damage weapons. Like if you do Preflag plus heavy 2, you are really, really well set. But if you have Preflag with other shield breaking weapons, then it's okay. You're not gonna decimate enemy ship, and then you gotta make sure the rest of your offense still can compensate. With all that said, just giving you 7 projectiles on the first volley is a very, very good thing to have. Arguably S tier, honestly. I was debating putting Preflag in S tier. Trifecta is a weird gun, but it's still fine. Like, yes, it's a bit slower, but it also compensates for that by having the potential to deal 4 damage. So it's, at worst, it's still 2 power, 3 shots, takedowns, 3 shields. So yeah. Hector mod weapons, too expensive, because you pay too much to get them to a point where they're better than the base weapon. That's how I would see it. So I think Hector weapons mostly end up in the C tier-ish. Royal Payload gotta be S tier. Well, to be fair, this is an early game tier list, so I didn't even consider the Royal Payload, but yeah, if I did rank, Royal Payload would absolutely be S. No questions asked. Yeah, I also like Trifecta. I think it's overhated. Coming to this group, 3 crystal weapons, 1 power, 2 damage, all of them. I was very tempted to put Crystal Heavy in S tier, but decided against it, because I think the S tier is reserved for the really good stuff, and Crystal Heavy is close but not quite. Pierce Heavy is basically like Crystal Heavy. It's kind of, they're just twins. I don't know what, there's not much difference between them. Mag 1, Mag 2, you can use these as defunct out heavy lasers. The one cool thing is that, first of all, they have accuracy. Second of all, they have the benefit of, let's say your shield breaking projectiles miss, then you don't fire the magnifiers, and then you save them for the next volley, and they're actually even stronger then. Yes, that assumes you don't get shot in weapons at that point, but it's just something that's a possibility you can use. And that's not the main reason keeping up them this high. It's the fact that they are also pretty efficient in a pretty reasonable amount of time. Like, I think Magnifier 1 is basically a heavy 1 in 11 seconds, and Mag 2 is basically a 2 power 3 damage in 13 seconds, which is all very acceptable. So that's the main reason these two are up that high. Not so much the fact that they can store charges. That's just a bonus thing that comes in a safe fight, you know? Yeah, flexibility is just nice to have. Exactly why charge 3 is so much higher than the other one, which is, yeah, burst 3 flexibility. That's lasers. Now, if we move on to, oops, what else is here? Is it all just ballistics? Dang it, I think it's all just ballistic. Oh, no, hang on. There's one non-ballistic weapon that ended up in this tier, aside from the lasers. Maizui Cord. Very respectable 2 power 3 damage. Guaranteed hit. However, it is 14 seconds, so it's a bit on the longer side. It's not the end of the world. It's though, like, 14 seconds is still very much acceptable, so it's up here. I think one of the things I have against Maizui Cord, it's surprisingly expensive. You look at all the other weapons in the A tier, compared to Maizui Cord, like, even 3 Flak is cheaper than Maizui Cord, which is kind of crazy. That's one of the main things I have against it. Yeah. Okay, yep. Oops, all missiles is coming up next. So let's see. So these are the A tier missiles, by the way. Where do we go? We start with Momus. I'm just putting them in like category. I think yeah, that's fine. Momus, Recycle Bomb, Particle Bomb, Ares, Boreas, Asclepius, Hades. Okay, I know. Yes, I was thinking of putting Hades in the B tier, but I'm gonna leave it at the tail end of A tier. We'll get to that in a moment. Colonel to Heavy Colonel, Heavy Spore, Spore to cool, I think that's it. Cool. So this is your A tier. I believe I have every weapon. Cool, I do. Right, so yeah, how would I describe this tier? So you Themis is pretty high. Yes, it is. It is pretty high. Yeah. We still haven't ranked Themis, and we're going from bottom to top. So I mean, it's basically cat out of the bag right now. Anything you see in unranked tier is S tier or S plus tier. So, but before we go on to that, let's talk about A tier first. Momus and Recycle Bomb, yes, very good. Pierces all shields, costs no ammo, but they are 17 seconds, so that is kind of a drawback. Same with Particle Bomb. Yes, it absolutely nukes the system, but it's 18 seconds. Not good. Same with these three. 2 power 3 damage through all shields. Fantastic. However, 16, 16, 8, 17 second cooldown. That's the issue. Hades. Oh boy. I will leave this at the tail end of A tier. If you want to put it in B tier, I don't mind. I can see that. Because since they nerfed the system damage, it's definitely been a bit more dubious compared to these other options that just straight up plant 3 system damage, whereas Hades you have to wait for 2 more seconds. Sorry, you have to wait for the fire to burn. And Hades is 1 second slower than the others as well. Yeah, above all, it still does guaranteed fires, which is by far the best effect out of everything here. Out of all the quote-unquote elemental missiles in a sense. So it's still good, it's just arguably B. So yeah, pinch of salt. Could be B, up to you if you want to make it B. Ion Bomb is S tier. Yes, that is right. We'll get to that in a moment. Now, and then kernels here. So actually, I could sum this whole wave of ballistics as efficient ballistics, but they take more than 15 seconds to charge. That's the entire row of ballistics we see here. Then you look at the ballistics here, and they're all just faster. Yeah. Oh, with that, okay. So the only difference is that there are 3 weapons I will put in the needs nerfed here. That's it. Everything else goes into the S tier. Right. No particular order. Artemis, Bomb, Breach Bomb, Iron Bomb, Charge Kernel, Dirk, Hermes, Hydra. Congratulations, Hydra. The only 3 power weapon to make it out of the B tier. Kernel 1, Pegasus, Pre-Ion, Spore 1, Stun Spore, Apollo, Epimetheus, Light Burst 2, just Light Burst, Shrapnel Bomb, Themis. Guys, do we want to... Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 out of 18 S tier weapons are ballistics. Whoever said missile burst is over, it is not. It is still the best way at keeping you alive in the early game. So, because above all, it's the same thing I was talking about just now with the lethal argument, except even more exaggerated here. Because while lethal is bad at efficiency, these are not bad at efficiency. For 1 power, you're getting 2 damage through all shields. You don't even have to charge anything. Like, I'm specifically talking about Artemis Bomb, Breach Bomb, Charge Kernel, Kernel 1, Spore Launcher, Apollo, Themis, Shrapnel. Themis and Shrapnel are admittedly a bit slower, but at least they nuke the systems around them. So, which is, yes, I would, any day of the week I would take Artemis over Themis, but I think that effect is just enough to kick Themis into the S tier. Again, if you want, you could put it in A tier, I don't mind. It's like, but it's 1 power. That's the main thing. And that's why Percy's was so much lower, because yes, it does 2 system damage to surrounding rooms, but it's high power, long cooldown. At least Themis is only long cooldown and not high power. Yeah, just because if you man these weapons, most of these can outpace enemy weapons, and that's a very big deal, especially the charge weapons like Charge Kernel and Pegasus, Hydra. Hydra's up here because of the flexibility. If you see a dangerous enemy, then like you saw that ship just now with weapons and drones, Hydra says no. Hydra shoots 1 missile into drones in 4.5 seconds, shoots another missile into weapons in 4.5 seconds. That instantly turns off 1 drone, 1 weapon. Like, and that's why Hydra is so good, despite being a 3 power weapon, because its first volley can come insanely quick. Like light laser 1 levels of quick. Pegasus is also similar to Hydra, so there's that. Iron Bomb, yeah, let's talk about Iron Bomb. It's also part of the whole 1 power thing, where 1 power weapons are really hard to turn off because your entire weapon system has to go all the way down before you stop using 1 power weapons. If there's 1 bar in there, your 1 power weapon stays online. And Iron Bomb has not only 30% accuracy but 4 ion damage. It just nukes the system. Now, the main reason why Stun Bomb is lower than Iron Bomb is because Iron Bomb, well, yes, it is 4 seconds faster, but it's also the fact that it only takes 1 hour. That's a very big deal. Like, let's just categorize by 1 power weapons and 2 power weapons here. Well, obviously, Pre-Ion 0 power, so that's something else, but Hermes is 2, Hydra is 3, Light Burst is 2, oh, Epimetheus is 0 power. Yes, so, no, sorry. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 out of 18 of the steel weapons are 1 power, and another 2 are 0 power. Just things that are very easy to slot into your offense, they just they're just very good because they also damage systems, which is exactly what you want. Easy to slot, fast cooldown, damage systems. That's like the all-in-one package of what you want. For the rest of the weapons, Dirk is still fantastic, by the way. It's still, I mean, yes, it may be a bit out of its league up here with all the other missiles, maybe low end of S tier, but it is still, what it's worth, a guaranteed 2 damage shot. It doesn't miss. 12 second, the cooldown nerf from 10 second to 12 second is just, I appreciate that they tried to nerf it, but really most of your shots are 12 seconds anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference in your volley time. And it can still damage to 1 shield, something that heavy laser can't do, so that's why it's definitely better than heavy laser. Light burst, shout out. 2 power 3 shots in 9 seconds with accuracy and shoots extremely quick. If you want to use any beam weapon, light burst is your best friend for that. Also, because it shoots so quickly, if you see an enemy with low health, you can just finish them off with this weapon. You don't have to wait for the rest of your volley. Because sometimes if you wait for the rest of your volley, if you don't, let's say you had burst 2 and you don't wait for your volley, you shoot at the enemy, you miss 1 shot, then I guess you just delayed the fight. But with light burst, you're a lot more likely to hit it, and the consequences of missing are a lot lower because of the low cooldown. So I do think light burst is one of the best things that came out of TRC. It's fantastic. Stun Spore is a rare exception to the Stun Spore and Hermes, I guess. Exceptions to the 2 power missile rule that takes more than 15 seconds to charge, because this takes 3 seconds and this takes 15 seconds. Now, Stun Spore also like stuns for a crazy long time with 3 projectiles, so it's actually really good at just disabling systems. But of course, it doesn't do hull damage, so you can't just solo a fight with it. Rest I've talked about. Pre-Ion would be like very broken, but they didn't nerf it, and it's also not that great if the rest of your weapons are ballistic, so fair enough. Epimetheus. I was tempted to put it S+ tier, but they did nerf it to like take 2 missiles, so I don't know. I think this is what I would say is something that is fundamentally broken, and unless they nerf the stats to a point where it's utter garbage, I think it will always be an S+ tier weapon. Not so, it's hard to say because it is definitely conceptually too strong. I just don't know how else you would nerf it without making it too weak. It is reusable magnetic payload, exactly, right? And 2 missiles is fine. You're not shooting this every fight. You use this on the dangerous fights. And having a magnetic payload for every dangerous fight is crazy good. So, yeah. Well, and here are your other S+ weapons. One thing I would like to know, Point Art, it's very strong, but it's more so the fact that I think they forgot to nerf Point Art when they nerfed Dirk. So now there's only a 1 second difference between Point Art and Dirk. So I think if they just bump Point Art's cooldown by like 3 or 4 seconds, I think it'll be fine. It's just, yeah, they nerfed Dirk without nerfing Point Art, that's all. Yeah, we don't talk about TRC style. So, and by far, I would say the 2 biggest offenders of broken weapons, it's like, I kind of get that Point Art might be an oversight and Epimetheus is fundamentally broken, but like, oh my gosh, nerf this in the next update. Like, and the fact that Taish has already been nerfed a couple of times and is still, I would say, probably the best weapon you can buy with money in the early game. Ah boy, where do we begin? 45 scrap. That's not a lot. In fact, why is Taish cheaper than a Burst 1? Like, I do not understand. Burst 1 is fantastic. Why is Taish cheaper? Anyways, next, reasonable cooldowns. I'm pretty sure they're both either 15 or 14 seconds. Third, no power. Fourth, deals damage to all shields. 5, accuracy bonus. 6, status effects. Yeah, okay, so you not only have a weapon, that slots into any build because it's 0 power. It deals damage through all shields, meaning it does not care what your current system loadout is. You just use it and it's going to deal 2 system damage. It's decently fast. That means it's faster than, like, I don't know, it's faster than Hermes for whatever reason. And they have accuracy. They're more likely to deal damage than heavy 1. So, like, oh my gosh. These are... Yeah, I don't like to exaggerate, but that's the reason why I put this new row up there. I really do think these need a nerf. Because you look at burst 1 and conservative release, you have a 6-second cooldown increase. And it makes that sort of like a reasonable trade-off, right? If you look at Artemis and Taish, it's a +2, +3-second cooldown. That's not a big deal. I would gladly just do that because that 1 power saved means I can fit it in so easily. And this is what I was hinting at. 0 power weapons. You see the crux, the 4 biggest offenders are all 0 power. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's too easy to slot into any build. Yeah. And I'm surprised that Epimetheus is above Pre-Ion. I do think they're both like really strong. It's just that Epimetheus is more generalizable. It's more broadly applicable, used in any build. Pre-Ion, it won't be useful if you are only running ballistics anyways. So it's... Pre-Ion's still good, please don't get me wrong. It's just less versatile. Never so slightly less versatile. I mean, if they want to go nerf Pre-Ion, I do not mind. This thing is still very, very strong. But the first things I want to see nerfed: high conservative bomb. Absolutely these two. And probably point out, because this is an oversight, Epimetheus fundamentally broken, so I don't really mind, because otherwise, if they nerf this even more, they need buff TRC stealth to not be absolute garbage, but that's besides the point. Anyways, okay, I just made this for the point of the stream. I'm gonna actually, like, delete that. We don't need that, and Big Iron is also... Yeah, so actually, the 3 weapons I will nerf first. Big Ion, high conservative bomb. 3 weapons I will nerf in the next update. After that, we've got like payload, we've got point art, but yeah. Oh, so there is the entire weapon tier list. I'm just gonna move this unranked out of the way for now. Yeah. And keep in mind, guys, this is a tier list for early game. So being early game means I just didn't include anything that you literally can't get in early game aside from starting with it. So no chaos weapons, no nexus weapons, no royal weapons, no tier 2, tier 3 hub Aether weapons. But yeah. And Symbion's not a weapon. I count it as a drone. But yeah. Nerfing availability. Maybe. It's just that I think the powerless, these ones are more so standard weapons like Heish and Conservative Bomb. It's just that their stats are fundamentally just overtuned. I don't... Because by nerfing availability, I think it's mainly for weapons that break the norm. So Pre-Ion, I could kind of see that being nerfed to be less common. But Heish and Conservative Bomb, they're just standard weapons. It's just they have ridiculously overtuned stats for some reason. If Heish had 18-second cooldown, it would be a lot more balanced. Yes, some of these weapons just need some stat tweaks. I don't think they need to be like completely unavailable. Okay. I'll be back in a minute, but if you have any questions or you want to see any part of the tier list one more time, just let me know. I'll scroll through it. Don't worry, I'll put this all into a Google Doc by Sunday, I think. Give me a minute, I'll be back. Let's see. How do I feel about doing add-on ship runs instead of regular multiverse? For now, I want to stick close-ish to multiverse, but I do see some add-ons are that do not disrupt the balance of multiverse that much. Like main ones I can think of would be IPS and the extra multiverse. So those will be options in the upcoming poll because May after the weapon tier is on Thursday, May is just gonna be ship requests, and then June is gonna be the next long grind, and I will put IPS and extra multiverse up as options, and we'll see what the poll says. So yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, if there's nothing else, then yeah, we're done for today. Stream took way longer than expected. Well, no, I knew there were a lot of weapons to get through, but it kind of got dragged out a little bit too long. Oh, I do have to go now, like soon, really soon. Actually, I should probably go now. So yeah, Thursday I will try to aim to make the stream not as long because I find that I'm rehashing myself in a bunch of places. Like I could describe this entire ballistic row as slow missiles, but they're still missiles. So yeah, just gotta work on the pacing a little bit for Thursday, I guess. No, I can't afford for it to be 4 hours, dude. I gotta it's timing issues. I gotta make it shorter. But I think late game is also not as much to explain. It's like what's efficient, what's not, what works, what doesn't. It's not so much like why is one power so much better than everything else. It's yeah, no worries. I'm glad to have all of you around. Do I think OE is balanced? I don't know, but I'm not doing that as one of my first options because the experience is too different from Multiverse. Whereas the ones I mentioned, they are more closely related to Multiverse. The experience is not so jarring, I guess. But yeah. Hang on, maybe I should like read the tiers down here just to rage bait people with their favorite weapons. Just if this becomes a thumbnail, then I can rage bait people who like Corbin and Falcon. Oh yeah, no worries for the stream. Anyways, I will catch you all on Thursday then. So yeah, be seeing you around.